Na mtazamaji, karibu tena kwenye majira ya EBN saa moja. Jina langu ni Emmanuel Malo. Karibu kwa taarifa ambazo tumekuandalia kwa kina na tendeti katika runinga yetu. Lakini kwanza kabisa mtazamaji, hii leo ni kwamba tunatarajia naibu wa rais Rigathi Gachagua kuzungumza na taifa. Labda huenda akazungumza na taifa kwa upande wake kuhusiana na kujitetea. Hapo jana tumemwona akiomba radhi kwa Rais William Ruto, viongozi wa bunge pamoja na wananchi kwa ujumla kwa kile alichokitaja kwamba labda kwa kukosa ambalo aliomba msamaha kwa Rais William Ruto pamoja na viongozi wengine. Mtazamaji, ni muda mchache ambao tulipata ripoti kwamba huenda akazungumza, na ambapo tuna imani naye kwamba atakapozungumza tutakuwa tunaelewa ni yapi yanayojiri. Kumbuka hapo kesho ndipo atakapokuwa kikangoni baada ya bunge la kitaifa kuanzisha mchakato wa kumbandua mamlakani mtazamaji. Na hivyo basi tunaangazia hali halisi ambapo taswira mpya imerejelewa kwamba asilimia nyingi imeweza kutetea kwamba naibu wa rais Rigathi Gachagua kuondolewa kulingana na baadhi ya mashirika ambayo yanafanya utafiti huo ikilingana na TIFA. Lakini kwenye eneo la mlima imegundulika kwamba asilimia 69 ndio wanaopinga kuondolewa kwa Rigathi Gachagua, asilimia 69 kati ya asilimia 100. Kati hao mtazamaji ni baadhi ya Wakenya ambao wanatarajia. Hata hivyo, tukiingia moja kwa moja kwa taarifa ambazo tumekuandalia kwa sasa, ni kwamba Mahakama Kuu imedinda kwa mara nyingine tena kusitisha mchakato wa kumwondoa afisini naibu rais Rigathi Gachagua. Jaji Bahati wa Mwamuye ameagiza kuwa kesi iliyowasilishwa na aliyekuwa katibu mkuu wa chama cha UDA Cleophas Malala iwasilishwe mbele ya Jaji Chacha Mwita kwa maagizo zaidi. Haya ni huku bunge likitaka masuala yote yanayohusiana na mchakato wa kumwondoa Gachagua yajumuishwe, kwani hoja hizo zinaibua masuala sawia. Kesi 13 zimewasilishwa tayari mahakamani kupinga kubanduliwa ofisini kwa Gachagua. Gachagua atapata fursa ya kujitetea bungeni hapo kesho iwapo baada ya usemi wake ambao tunatarajia kusikiza usiku wa leo. Na mtazamaji, siku moja tu baada ya naibu wa rais Rigathi Gachagua kwamba msamaha hapo jana na kuwapa pole waliodhani amewakosea ikiwemo Wakenya, hisia tofauti zimeendelea kuibuka miongoni mwa Wakenya. Katika kaunti ya Kisii, wakazi hao wamekuwa na hisia kinzani, huku wengine wakimtaka rais kushusha hasira zake na kupokea msamaha wa naibu wa rais Gachagua na kuzungumza jinsi ya kuwafanyia maendeleo wa Kenya kote nchini. Hata hivyo, wengine nao wakitaka mchakato huo wa kumtimua Gachagua kuendelea hata baada yake kuomba msamaha.
Kama huyu kiongozi Gachagua venye alikuja akasema hiyo ni kitu ya muhimu sana kwa mheshimiwa wetu mwenyezi wetu Ruto, hiyo hata yeye akisikia eti huyu jamaa ameomba msamaha, hiyo ni kitu ya hekima sana. Hivyo sasa waja huyu jamaa wetu Ruto arudishe roho yake chini, manake huyu jamaa amerudi chini ya miguu yake, amesema haya maneno hata wairudia tena, waja waendelee wasikane, tuendeleze serikali yetu because manake tuko sahi mlengo yenye tuko mali ambao ni ngumu sana, kwa sababu hata biashara zetu siku hizi imerudi chini kwa sababu ya maneno. Badala watu wakuje pamoja waelewane venye umeamua hivyo na huyu jamaa mwenzetu huyu Ruto.
Mimi naonelea kwamba Gachagua kuomba msamaha si kitu kwa Wakenya. Sasa hiyo Wakenya ndio wameumia, si Gachagua ameumia. Kama ilikuwa amesema kwamba anataka kusaidia Mlima Kenya, wacha asaidie Mlima Kenya juu kila mmoja ana upande wa kusaidia. Lakini mimi naonelea kwamba hata akiomba msamaha wacha waende nyumbani, 2027 tuwapange.
Gachagua ni vizuri ameomba msamaha, kama president yake ataweza kumsamea waendelee pamoja, kwa sababu walianza pamoja na sasa iwezi kufika katikati ndio sasa aanze kumtoa kwa uongozi. Wacha waendelee pamoja, wamalize pamoja, na kitu na waomba tafadhali. Unajua wamefika katikati, wameanza kusahau kutufanyia maendeleo, ndio wameanza kukimbishana peke yao. Kwa hivyo president lazima aangalie hiyo kuomba msamaha yake, ndio wakubambalize hiyo mkondo pamoja. Sasa wakifika mkondo ya pili ndio waone vile watafanya.
Na mtazamaji, shughuli za kumbandua naibu wa rais Rigathi Gachagua zikitarajiwa kushika kasi kwanza hapo kesho. Wakenya wameendelea kutoa hisia mseto kuhusiana na mchakato huo. Baadhi ya wakazi kutoka kaunti za Bungoma, eneo bunge la Kandui na kaunti ya Elgeyo Marakwet kwa sauti moja walikariri kuwa waungi mkono vikamilifu hoja ya kumbandua Gachagua, huku wakiwasuta wabunge kwa kuendesha shughuli za kukusanya maoni kwa kuegemea maoni yanayoungwa mkono wao na kuyapuuzilia maoni ya Wakenya. Wakati huo walipendekeza maswali ambayo ni muhimu kwa wananchi hivi sasa, ikiwemo hata utata wa bima ya afya SHA, ukosefu wa ajira, ufadhili wa vyuo vikuu, gharama ya maisha na hali kadhalika ambayo inapaswa kuangaziwa hivi sasa.
Kwa hiyo msaada ya Gachagua ni kwamba sisi tulipigia Ruto, tukapigia Gachagua kura. Hao watu wote waende nyumbani. Najua hii Kenya tukifanya mchezo tutauzwa na wa China ama na Indians. Sasa sisi, mimi maoni yangu, Ruto, Gachagua wote nyumbani. Kufa driver, kufa conductor. Hiyo maoni kwa mimi niliparticipate, lakini ukiangalia kindani wabunge ni wajanja. Hawatapeleka maoni yenye sisi tulifanya. Watapeleka maoni yao yenye hao wanataka.
Gachagua anapobanduliwa pia rais abanduliwe. Nilikuwa nauliza serikali, kwa nini mnatuhangaisha mara huku tunatoka huku tunaenda kwa hii? Tutatoka kwa Rigiji tuende kwa gani sasa? Naona
juu serikali haikuundwa na mtu mmoja. Serikali iliundwa na watu walikuwa kwa serikali wakianzisha hiyo serikali.
Huyu Gachagua akiondolewa mamlakani, yeye barabara kutoka Piretwa kutoka ile pande ile mwingine huko juu kutoka Kimwarer mpaka kule Toti itawekwa lami. Tukitoa Gachagua, hii stadium ya Kamarinyi itajengwa. Tukitoa huyu Gachagua, hii mambo ya university funding itawekwa sawa sawa. Tukitoa Gachagua, mimi nauliza, sasa watoto wetu wana employment, wameumia sana. Kwa nini wabunge wajesimama kitete na kupinga hiyo shida yote hiyo? Mbona wajesimama na hiyo? Ya pili, unaona saa ile shida iko kwa Kenya, angalia mambo ya SHA. Jana uliona watu wakiwep kwa hospitali. Wazee wanataka washio viko, lakini hawezi kuwashia kwa sababu ile hospitali haina muktaba na SHA.
But I'm very disappointed because the person who was running the program said that a person is going to speak per 2 minutes and it is going to be 2 people per constituency. And not all of us, we travel all the way from our constituencies, our various constituencies, using our own transport, using our own resources. We have wasted our own time. Lakini unafika unanyimwa nafasi ya kuair your view because they know you are of a contrary opinion to what they have planned, the way it was supposed to go. So mimi personally siungi mkono impeachment ya deputy.
Na mtazamaji, gavana wa Wajir Ahmed Abdullahi ndiye mwenyekiti wa baraza la magavana, huo gavana wa Nyeri Mutahi Kahiga akiwa naibu wake. Hii ni kufuatia uchaguzi uliofanyika hii leo hapa jijini Nairobi baada ya kutamatika kwa muhula wa miaka 2 wa kudumu wa viongozi waliokuwa wakiongoza hivyo magavana hao. Gavana wa Wajir hivi sasa anachukua hatamu ya uongozi kutoka kwa gavana wa Kirinyaga Anne Waiguru aliyekuwa mwenyekiti wa baraza hilo. Magavana Ahmed Abdullahi wa Wajir, Mutahi Kahiga wa Nyeri, Johnson Sakaja wa Nairobi, Joseph Lelenko wa Kajiado na Mthomi Njuki wa Tharaka Nithi wanawania kiti cha ugavana.
Photographers, 2 minutes, then you below the table dance.
It's a very interesting conversation.
Photographers, please, now, time is up for you. You can leave the room. And Team Fanwell protocol, please let's go the photographers.
Na mtazamaji, kwingineko, mwandishi wa habari ni mjumbe tu ambaye hatakiwi kupigwa mawe, kuporwa ama kufurushwa akiwa kazini. Tukienda kwenye kaunti ya Bungoma ambapo wanahabari huko Bungoma Emmanuel Kilongi anayeripoti katika redio ya mojawapo humo nchini anauguza majeraha baada ya kushambuliwa vikali na wanafunzi wa taasisi ya sayansi na teknolojia ya Sangalo. Wanafunzi hao walikuwa wakiandamana kwa madai ya usimamizi mbovu wa shule hiyo, wakimtaka mkuu wa shule hiyo kuondoka mara moja. Walipokuwa wakielekea mjini, walifanya fujo wakiwarushia wapita njia mawe na kuimba nyimbo za kukashifu mkuu wa shule hiyo Rosabel Shoku, huku wakiendeleza uporaji kwa maduka. Hata hivyo, akizungumza na wanahabari baada ya tukio hilo, Kilongi alisema hakutarajia kukasirishwa, kwani alikuwa na rekodi matukio kama sehemu ya jukumu lake la uandishi wa habari.
Niweza kujaribu kuandikia Media Council message in the morning na wenzangu ambao tulikuwa tunafanya nao kazi katika bunge la kitaifa, kuwafahamisha maana sikuwa na simu juu simu yangu ilikuwa imeenda, na nika log in to my laptop ambayo huwa nilikuwa nimeconnect na simu yangu. So nikawapea hiyo, nikawaarifu na wakaweza kunipigia simu. Wakaniitisha niweze kuwatumia OB namba ambayo nilikuwa nimeandikisha katika kituo cha polisi, na sasa pia ninasubiri nione kile ambacho Media Council watafanya.
Mwenzangu tulikuwa na yeye tunaenda huko chuo cha Sangalo ili tukaweze kupitisha ujumbe wa wanafunzi ifikie serikali kwamba wako na malalamishi mengi. Wanasema principal wao wako na shida. So sisi kazi yetu kama wanahabari, sisi tuko neutral, hatuegemei upande wowote. Sisi kazi yetu ni kupitisha ujumbe, na nia yetu pale ilikuwa kupitisha ujumbe wa hawa vijana. Hatukuenda tuvurugani. Sasa hao walichukulia vibaya, wakapiga mwenzangu kama nashuhudia, wakaingia kwa duka na wakapora. So mimi ninachoomba ni kwamba wanahabari wapewe nafasi wakaweze kufanya kazi yao. Mtumwa hapigwi mawe, kazi yake ni kupitisha tu ujumbe. Tafadhali.
Na mtazamaji, baraza la wazee linamtaka Rais William Ruto kuingilia kati na kusitisha mchakato wa kumwondoa afisini naibu rais Rigathi Gachagua. Baraza hilo linasema kuwa pilika hizo hazina umuhimu mkubwa kwa wananchi, wakiwarai hata hivyo rais na naibu wake kuzungumza na kutatua masuala yanayowakosanisha. Wazee hao wamemtaka rais kufanya kipaumbele masuala yanayowahusu wa Kenya kama vile bima ya afya, gharama ya maisha, ufadhili wa wanafunzi wa vyuo vikuu na hali kadhalika.
Ongea na citizens wetu, tutatoa mashauri, tutatoa mwelekeo. So tunatarajia kwamba there will be utaratibu mzuri katika parliament. They will not hawata tupeliana viti na vitu kama hizo, lakini this time round elders wako tayari kuintervene kama vitu vikienda wrong. As demand transparent and clear information.
Hizi imeanza kuleta hisia na mgawanyiko nchini ambayo inaathiri umoja na uwiano wa taifa hili. Baada ya majadiliano ya kina, baraza inawaomba rais na makamu wake wamalize hizi tofauti kwa kushauriana na ikiwezekana kuhusisha wazee na viongozi wa dini, wasameheane. Kwa sababu ikiwa Mwenyezi Mungu anaweza kutusamehe kwa dhambi zile ambayo tunafanya kila siku, wao ni binadamu, inafaa tofauti zile ambazo zimejitokeza wakae chini. Na tunashukuru vile vile makamu wa rais jana aliomba msamaha, na hiyo izingatiwe ili nchi hii ambayo iko na matatizo mengi, hasa wakati huu ambapo uchumi imekalia kwa wananchi, viongozi wakae chini, wamaliza hii maneno haraka iwezekanavyo, na wakishindwa waalike wazee na viongozi wa dini tuwasaidie kwa minajili ya kuboresha maisha ya jamii zetu. Wabunge watulize boli, waweze kumaliza hii maneno kwa njia ya mazungumzo. Tayari dalili ambazo zinajitokeza katika sehemu mbalimbali ya nchi hii sio dalili nzuri, ni dalili ya mgawanyiko. Kwa hivyo wabunge kama watu ambao tumewachagua, na wana majukumu mbele ya Mwenyezi Mungu, yao ni kupatanisha na sio kulete mwanya mkubwa ambayo inaweza gawanya nchi hii.
Palipo na wazee hapaharibiki neno,
asiyesikia la mkuu
atavunja guu.
Na mtazamaji, viongozi wa kaunti ya Tana River wanatoa wito kwa jamii kukomesha mapigano ya kijamii huko Bangali ambayo kufikia sasa yamesababisha vifo vya watu 8 wakiongozwa na katibu wa masuala ya baraza la mawaziri Idris Dokota na aliyekuwa gavana wa Tana River Hussein Dado. Viongozi hao walisema inasikitisha kwa jamii ambazo zimeishi pamoja kwa amani kwa muda mrefu kwanza kuuana.
Wa hapa Tana River, jamii mbili zinazozana saa hii, tafadhalini msimamishe hiyo maneno katika dini yetu, manake wengi wenu ni wa dini.
Katika zile tarbia za muumini niwe ni mtu mwenye kupenda amani. Kwa hivyo jamii zetu za Tana River tunazihusia kwamba tukae kwa upendo na sote ni ndugu.
Na mtazamaji, wakulima wa miwa katika kaunti ya Busia wameitaka mamlaka ya kudhibiti ubora wa vyakula AFA kutoa hamasa ya kutosha kufuatia ongezeko la visa vya wizi wa miwa katika kaunti ya Busia. Wakulima hawa, mtazamaji, wanasema wizi huo unayumbisha viwanda vya sukari vinavyokuza miwa yao. Aidha, wanalalamikia miwa kukatwa ikiwa changa shambani.
Leo nimekuja kutembelea shamba yangu, nimepata shamba yangu imekatwa. Miwa imebebwa na kampuni na tinga. Sasa nimeshindwa kujua, na hii miwa nilikuwa nimecontract na Rebuttal West Kenya. Sasa nashindwa madeni hii nitailipa namna gani ikiwa miwa yangu imeibiwa.
And because I wanted to pay school fees for my university student at the University of Nairobi, I said, where? Because I didn't have money. Last time I asked West Kenya to give me an advance payment. They refused to give me. So I had to sell one of my plots, prime plots in Adogosi, to pay fees. This time I have no plot. And they were not communicating to me after I applied for an advance.
Kushangaza ni kwamba hata kando na kwamba tumekuwa na maelewano na shirika ambalo linadhibiti shughuli za miwa, AFA Sugar Directorate, na millers wote tukakubaliana kwamba tunastahili kudumisha umri wa miwa, harvesting age, kama miezi 16 kwenda juu.
Sisi tuliona tinga ikiingia hapa kabeba miwa wakaenda. Nilifikiria jirani ndiye ametuma watu kufanya nini, kukata miwa, kumbe ni waisi. Kidogo ndio mimi nikampigia simu, shamba yako imevamiwa, wanakata miwa, wewe ndio umetumana? Ati hapana.
Na mtazamaji, viongozi kutoka kaunti ya Tana River sasa wanaitaka serikali kuingilia kati na kuwatia mbaroni baadhi ya viongozi wanaochochea mzozano baina ya jamii katika kaunti hiyo. Viongozi hao sasa walielezea kuwa kukamatwa kwa viongozi hao wachochezi kutasaidia pakubwa kurejea kwa amani katika kaunti hiyo. Hii ni baada ya watu 8 kuuawa katika eneo la Bangali, Tana River Kaskazini, wakiongozwa na katibu wa idara ya masuala ya mawaziri Idris Dokota na aliyekuwa gavana huyo Hussein Dado. Viongozi hao walielezea kusikitishwa kwao kutokana na visa hivyo.
Kwa uwezo wa Mungu sisi kama viongozi, na najua wazee wetu wamejaribu sana, tumekuwa na mikutano mingi. Tumekuwa na mikutano hapo kwa county commissioner pamoja na leaders na wazee na even MCAs. Tumekaa mara 2 na juzi pia tumeenda Malindi tukakaa, na tumejua chanzo kubwa ya hii vita ni mambo ya ardhi, na tukasema ni haki ya kila mwana Tana River kuhusishwa katika mambo ya ardhi. Kama ni komiti ya kugawanya hiyo ardhi, lazima kila kabila ijulishwe. Kama ni leaders lazima wahusike. Kama ni watu ambao watu wanatoka kwengine kuja kuhama kwa area yao, lazima wahusishwe na wao wakubali. Na tukasema pia county assembly lazima ipitishe sheria ambao itasaidia watu kuishi pamoja.
Na yale ambayo yanaendelea tumesema kwamba lazima yasitishwe. Kwanza watu wote wakuje pamoja, tuhakikishe kuna amani. Kama kutakuwa na mambo ya kuenda sasa, kama ni ugavi ama kama ni kuhamisha watu waende wakae pamoja, lazima kukue na yale kuafikiana. Ya pili, sisi kama viongozi, nikiwa mimi ni mmoja wapo ni speaker wa county, Kama mimi nitakuwa ni wa kuchochea wananchi waende wapigane, sheria ianze na mimi. Isichelewe. Isichelewe. Sote tunaishi ndani ya Tana River. Kikosi ama taasisi zote za usalama ziko na nguvu ya kujua ni nani anachochea wananchi. Hakuna mtu anaweza fichika. Kama kuna kiongozi amechochea wananchi waende wapigane, tafadhali, hatutaki kupoteza wananchi zaidi ya hapo. Hatua ichukuliwe, wale ambao wanashukiwa wawekwe ndani huko. Wacha watu waishi na amani. Miaka iliyopita 5 ya His Excellency retired Major Godana hakukuwa na vita pia. Lakini saa hii mambo inaanza. Na inaanza wapi? Kule North. Tafadhali sana. Wananchi wa Tana North wengi wako hapa. Wale wazee ambao wametoka kule wanataka amani.
Mimi kama Hussein Dado siamini jamii moja ni bora kuliko ingine. Jamii zote ni sawa.
Na mtazamaji, moja kwa moja tuelekee katika afisi za naibu wa rais ambapo anahutubia taifa kwa sasa ili tuweze kusikiza yale yanayojiri kufikia sasa. Labda mwelekezi wangu, moja kwa moja tuelekee ili tuweze kumsikiza anavyohutubia taifa kuhusiana na yale aliyotaka kuyazungumzia. Hebu tupate kumsikiza.
Kenyans woke up early to go and voting their president and deputy president. And out of the millions of Kenyans who turned up, 7.2 million Kenyans decided willingly that Dr. William Ruto should be elected as president and Rigathi Gachagua as elected president. I think it's only fair when members of parliament decide that they want to move the deputy president from office. The people who elected Rigathi Gachagua as deputy president hear his side of the story. I think it's very fair. And I thought it's also respectful to the voters to have the first opportunity to hear from me before the honorable members, because they are the ones who elected me to office. Article 1 of the Kenya Constitution says that the power, the sovereignty of this great nation rests with the people. And Parliament, that is the National Assembly and the Senate, enjoy the delegated authority from the people. It is therefore very important that the people who elected me as Deputy President get my response of the very outrageous accusations against the Deputy President that have no basis, that is sheer propaganda, that is a scheme to hold me out of office because of other political considerations, and has nothing to do with violation of the Constitution. It has nothing to do with gross misconduct, and it has absolutely nothing to do with committing international or national crimes. The people of Kenya are therefore entitled by right to hear from their Deputy President what is his response to those outrageous allegations. Again, an attempt to do a public participation in a very short exercise that was done. My response was not part of what was presented to the people of Kenya. The people of Kenya were being asked to give their views as to whether the Deputy President should be impeached from office, to the charges against him, and listening to his response. Because the rules of natural justice demand that no man should be condemned unheard. My lawyers will be vigorously challenging that public participation as a nullity, and that does not meet the threshold of public participation as expounded by the Supreme Court of Kenya during the celebrated case of Governor Peter Wabora. The motion alleges that 2 years since assuming office, Rigathi Gachagua has acquired property and wealth whose estimated value is 5.2 billion, despite his known income by way of employment is 24 million. This is extremely outrageous. Honorable Mutuse goes ahead to give properties that he alleges are owned by one Rigathi Gachagua. I trust he was just given a document to sign. Had he taken some bit of time to do some research, he would not embarrass himself in the National Assembly. James Derito Gachagua was the governor of Nyeri and died in London on the 24th of February 2017, and he was truly Rigathi Gachagua was by his bedside. Prior to his death, 3 or 4 weeks before, in privacy, he wrote his will and appointed Rigathi Gachagua as an executor of that will, jointly with Mwai Mathenge, his close-time buddy, who is a quantity surveyor, and celebrated lawyer Njoroge Regeru. The three of us were tasked to manage his estate. In the will, you'll be given a copy. He did put his properties and assets and cash and anything that he owned in this world. And among the things that he did put was the Olive Garden Hotel, the Fingo Beach Resort, the Queen's Gate apartment, and Langata high-rise flats. It is these 4 properties that the Honorable Mutuse alleges in the National Assembly that Rigathi Gachagua has acquired them after becoming Deputy President in 2022 when Derito Gachagua died in 2017. It is the most embarrassing allegation a member of Parliament can table before the National Assembly. Those properties were constructed and were in operation when the late Gachagua was alive. I take this opportunity to ask for forgiveness to my late brother, James Derito Gachagua, that today, as your younger brother defends himself, he'll defile your privacy by distributing your will that you wrote in privacy. That your properties that you worked so hard for many years to benefit your wives and children are now a subject of discussion and are alleged to be proceeds of corruption. How unfair, how cruel can you be to a dead man? A man who worked so hard, a man who gave his life for his family, to buy plots, to construct property, and leave them in his death for his children and his brothers and sisters. And then you go to the floor of the House and allege that those properties are production of corruption. My dear brother, rest in peace and forgive me for having joined politics. Because were it not for politics, you would not suffer this shame. Your children are crestfallen as they see their properties being splashed in newspapers as proceeds of crime. The Olive Garden Hotel that is alleged to have been bought by Rigathi Gachagua belongs to the estate of the late James Derito Gachagua. And in his will, he directed that we sell all his properties and divide the proceeds among his brothers, sisters, wives, and children. we as the executors of his estate, and I want to pay tribute to lawyer Njoroge Regero and Mwai Madenge for their commitment and sacrifice to the Gachagua family. Many executors who have been given properties to run by deceased people end up misusing them and depriving the beneficiaries. These two great men and myself, because my brother knew I'm an honest man and a fair person, and he knew his family would never suffer in my hands. We were able to sell Olive Garden Hotel at 412 million and distributed the proceeds to the beneficiaries as directed in his will. We registered his will in the High Court of Kenya and were given the probate. And my little brother, in his wisdom, left Rigathi Gachagua 5% of his wealth. I was therefore able to get 20 million shillings from this sale. That is money that is in my account that again I'm told they are proceeds of crime. He left my mother 5% of his wealth, another 20 million shillings. And since my mother is dead, my late brother, because he trusted me, had put in his will that I hold my mother's shares in trust. So that is another 20 million shillings in my account. Again, my late brother left me another 4% owed in trust of the children who is deceased, the late Dr. Friend Wachira Gachagua, whose children are in South Africa. And another 16 million shillings was put in my account. My late brother gave 2% to my wife, Pastor Dorcas, because of her kindness of looking after him when he was ill. All this money that has come to me from a dead brother, I'm being told are proceeds of crime. Queen's Gate Service Apartments, another property belonging to the late Gachagua, is another property that I'm told I bought as when I'm deputy president. That is why I have 5.2 billion worth of money. And this property, again, we sold the Cooperative Bank of Kenya, the staff retirement benefits for nearly 600 million. And this money we utilized to pay his debts. And today, as the late Gachagua rests in heaven, he has no debt. Again, I want to thank my fellow executors, Njoroge Regero and Mwai Madenge, for what you have done for my brother. Vipingo Beach Resort in Kilifi was Gachagua's holiday home, a beautiful palatial resort on 3.5 acres on the beach. I remember with nostalgia that he used to host us there every Christmas to enjoy ourselves. This property belongs to the estate of the deceased. Because ourselves have a family, we want to retain it for sentimental value so that when we visit there, we remember him. The Honorable Mutuse again goes to the, in a very emotional manner, quoting the Bible, says that this property has been bought corruptly by the deputy president without knowing where the money has come from. I have seen some land, Rogoro Kiamariga, 1223 in Mathera East constituency. To start with, Ruguru Kiamariga is not in Madera East constituency. It is in Madera West constituency. In haste to dispose of the deputy president because of political deceit and conmanship and betrayal, they could not even get it right where the land is situated. They were in such a haste to get rid of the deputy president. The land is Ruguru/Kiamariga 1223 in Madera West constituency. It's a 2-acre land. It's alleged it has a helipad. It's a lie. The land is 2, and I've planted napier grass for my dairy unit. I bought it at 3.5 million shillings. Again, from my dairy farm. I have a dairy farm, 50 cows, and I do make an income of almost 1.5 million shillings every month. They afford to buy 2 acres of land. And I take this opportunity. Anytime I've gone to the Rift Valley, in appreciation of the support I give President, gives me a cow or 2. And within 2 years, I have the largest dairy farm in Madera of the Kalenjin people. I want to thank them for their kindness. An accusation, Kabraine in Kieni Nyeri constituency, as Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. I saw the Honorable Njoroge Wainaina, the MP for Kieni, signed the notice of motion to impeach me on the allegations, this one being among them. Had there been no malice, Njoroge Wainaina, the Honorable MP for Kieni, would have advised the Honorable Mutuse that he sold me this land in the year 2015. I have a sale agreement I'll give you with this picture. I bought this land from the Honorable Njoroge Wainaina in 2015. I was not even a member of parliament. Yet he has appended his signature that I should be impeached and go home for having corruptly bought 40 acres of land in Kakuret. In fact, the land is not 40 acres, actually 35. The allegation is that it's 40 acres, but that land is 35 acres. The people of Kakuret know it. I bought it from the Honorable MP for Kieni, and had he read this motion, I'm sure he would not have signed it. But as you all know, there was a lot of coercion, there was a lot of intimidation, and I'm sorry that I'm told the Honorable Wainaina is admitted in hospital because of threats, coercion. He is being forced to hang a brother against his will and his conscience. These are the lies that Mutuse brought to the National Assembly, and asking the people of Kenya to get rid of the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya based on lies. I have seen another ridiculous allegation that the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, has since becoming Deputy President, acquired 80 acres of land in Meru. That is false. What is true is that the Deputy President is a member of Solution Circle Limited in Meru. And for those who do not know, the Deputy President is half Meru, half Kikuyu. His mother, the late mother, Rigathi Gachagua, was born in Meru in a place called Katheri, and thereafter settled in Kiberesha. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua sometimes is a lonely man. His father is dead, his mother is dead. His brother Rigathi Gachagua, the governor, died of pancreatic cancer. His brother, Dr. Fred Wachira Gachagua, died because of alcohol. His other brother, Jackson Riani, died because of alcohol. His sisters are married. So when he goes home, many times he's lonely. And he decided to look for some land in Meru where he can go and build a house and be among his relatives, his mother's relatives. And in the process, I identified a 29-acre land and borrowed money from Solution Circle, which I'm paying every month. We'll give you documents. That I have bought from a loan that I have taken as a member of Solution Circle in Meru, the land of my mother, and which I call home. I have seen an allegation that I have a dairy farm in Nyandarua. I don't have a single animal in Nyandarua. I have some little land in a place called Shamata, but I'm yet to do anything about it. I think I just mentioned it to one of the member of parliament for that area called Gachagua that I would like to start a dairy farm. And I think in those rumors in parliament, the Honorable Mutuse went ahead to say that I own a dairy farm in Nyandarua. I own no such farm today, but God willing, because of the good climate in Daragwa, in Shamata, one day, God willing, I'll have a huge. I have seen companies listed just to create an impression that Rigathi Gachagua is doing business. I want the people of Kenya to know that Rigathi Gachagua was a businessman before he became a politician. And he had a life. And that life is part of his history. So getting companies 15 years ago, 13 years ago, 10 years ago, and publishing them. I left university in 1989. I left for the private sector for another 15 years. In those 15 years, I was a very astute businessman. And luckily for me, maybe of you are not that lucky, it was during the Kibaki era when things were working. The economy was strong, business environment was right, and there was room to make money. And I made money at that time. Those are old companies, and they are not trading. And when I became children, and I told them to continue doing business and not to do business with government because I don't want conflict of interest. I want to confirm to the people of Kenya tonight that no company owned by Honorable Mutuse or anybody else linking the Gachagua, the Rigathi family with business deals with the Kenya government. I agreed with my children that they do business with the private sector, do farming, and run the family business that I bequeathed them. These companies are all listed. They are worth a reply because there's nothing about them. Rigathi Gachagua Foundation. As a member of parliament, I was educating orphans. I was educating children of single mothers. I was educating children of PWDs. And their education needed to continue and I don't have the benefit of CDF money. So I started a foundation, the Rigathi Gachagua Foundation, to continue doing the work of charity. I have seen my foundation here. The Honorable Mutuse has not said what crime the Deputy President has done by having a foundation that is non-profit making. For the purposes of clarity, I'll give you the bank statement for this foundation. I have only received a total of 12 million shillings from well-wishers, which have educated children, have educated students at Pwani University, and other vulnerable people. Dorcas Rigathi Gachagua Foundation, this is just an attempt to bring my family into mud. Every Kenyan knows the work Dorcas Rigathi has done in this country for the boy child. She has opened clinics for addicted children, and she gets a lot of money in her foundation. Since a decision was made that the government will not fund the office of the spouse of the Deputy President, Kenyans of goodwill flock to her every day with cash donations, with material donations, for her to continue with a very good program she's doing of rehabilitating children in Kilifi, in Mombasa, in Nyandarua, in Laikipia, in Nairobi, and her work is well documented. I am yet to see from the mover's motion what crime the Rigathi Gachagua Foundation has done. There is no allegation, there is no evidence, there is nothing. Against the Rigathi Gachagua Foundation, there is nothing. Spiritway Limited is a company registered by Dorcas Rigathi that does work with church ministries. This ministry has not traded, does not even have a bank account. Is some strong women of God who have come together to preach the gospel. The mover of this motion has not indicated Calvary Creed International Limited, again, on evangelism and activities to do with the Church of Christ. I have not seen a single allegation against this company. Mothers of the Lord Limited, again, this is a company incorporated by my wife, Pastor Dorcas, in 2021 with our friends. It has never traded. It does not even have a bank account. The Anani Collective, this is a business name registered by my son, Dr. Keith Rigathi, in 2021 before I came into office. The ideas he had, they have not yet to fruition. So the company is dormant. I am waiting to see a single allegation. Apartments Limited, a company that the executors of the late Gachagua put together to manage Langata View Apartments. The late Gachagua left 80 apartments for his children in Langata and asked us to sell and the proceeds to the wives, the children, and the brothers in a formula that he gave. In a family meeting that I chaired, we agreed as a family that we should not sell the flats. We should share them so that everybody can be getting a rental income. Shares he gave to me, I have 10 flats. His daughter has 10, his wife has 5, another one has 2, another has 1. So we did put this company together called Grand Bypass Apartments Limited. This is a company that will be managing estate of the late Gachagua. Again, this company has been put here by the Honorable Mutuse as a company set to manage flats belonging to a dead good man, future of his children. And in his own nonsensical allegations, simply because a decision has been made that Rigathi Gachagua is no longer useful to this administration. He is a spent cartridge. His work was to help fight Uhuru Kenyatta and get President William Ruto to power. And thereafter, he is of no use. So he should be dispensed with, and somebody else can be appointed against the will of the Kenyan people. That is the viciousness that we are even fighting the dead. How insensitive can we be? What is this power thing? That you even fight the dead for you to entrench yourself in power and get rid of your perceived political enemies. I appeal to the people of Kenya to have respect for the dead, if nothing else. People may have money, they may have power, they may have everything, but they must remember that it is very respectful to respect the dead. Please stop haunting my late brother. Don't put him. He committed no crime by working hard and living and entrusting his brother, Rigathi Gachagua, to look after that property. Fortis Viz Group Limited is a company incorporated in 2023 by my son Kevin. And this company has not even taken off. They are still figuring out have to come here every day to keep me company and find out what is not happening. This company has not even started. By putting their names in the press with negativity because you want to destroy their father. These are innocent boys who have decided. Why do you want to destroy them? You can destroy Rigathi Gachagua, fair enough, he has lived for 59 years. But these boys, hardly 30 years. Why do you want to destroy them? Pioneer Medical Company Group are you bringing it to Parliament? At the roundabout at Bomas on your way to Rongai. And we built this company from scratch. And it's been in existence for years. And when we stopped trading with it, we put up apartments in Koroi, in Rongai, called Rebuttal that are managed by this company. We collect rent. We have, I think, 40-50. We pay tax every month. What wrong has Rebuttal Furniture Mart done? Rebuttal was 12. Even if you want him for the 2 years he has been in office, why do you want to go back 20 years before he became deputy president and criminalize his enterprise and his hard work? Biovet Kenya Limited is a company, again, I founded in 2009. Many years before I even went to parliament. It has not done business for the last 15 years. Not a single shred of evidence that this company has done wrong. It's not there. Murani Manufacturers Limited. It's a company that is founded by a character from our village and sold some shares to my wife and my children. This company has never traded in government. It has not done any business. It is actually dormant. I'm told the account has only 132,000 shillings. And you want to set the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, a man elected by 7.2 million Kenya shillings, because his wife and children have some shares in a company that has 132,000 shillings. Surely. Delta Merchants Limited is a company I founded in 2009 during the Kibaki era. It has not done business for 15 years. We demand that you say what this company has done. Wamunyoro Investments Limited is a company named after my village in Wamunyoro, which I founded in the year 2001 as a construction company. This company owns a lot of property that I bought in those years when the economy of this country was on sound footing. Since I became deputy president, we ceased all activities of this company. It has not done a single transaction with anybody. The company is dormant, but it owns property. Those properties were bought and acquired long before I became deputy president. Cosmea Venture Limited is a company that was incorporated in 2018 before I became deputy president by my sons. They do what you call bulk SMS. I used to give them work when I was member of parliament to send messages to my constituents. I think they were charging me 30 cents per SMS. Some young, enterprising young people. Company 2018, it doesn't do business with government. It is not accused of any wrongdoing by anybody, anywhere. It's just putting the name there. Royal Crimson Ventures Limited, again incorporated in 2018 by my children to do their little business. No allegation of any wrongdoing has been annexed to the motion. Kurito Properties Limited, again, this is a company that me and the co-executors put together for the purposes of managing the Vipingo Hotel. No details of any accusation, any wrongdoing, nothing. Crystal Kenya Limited, this company I founded in 2009. And when I became deputy president, I gave out my shares to my children, and myself and my wife, we got out and asked them to continue doing business. My two children, like their father, very enterprising. Nyeri County, where I come from, we were hit badly by COVID, and all our hotels shut down. Hundreds of jobs were lost. Many people who were supplying to those hotels shut down. The two most important hotels in Nyeri is the Outspan Hotel and the Treetops Hotel, and they are always run together. The Outspan Hotel was for sale, and my children were interested, and I encouraged them. Treetops Hotel cannot be sold. It belongs to KWS. It's a government hotel. You can only lease. And the person who owned Outspan Hotel had also leased the Treetops Hotel. So my son acquired Outspan Hotel and got an assignment of the lease. So they don't own Treetops Hotel. It's on a lease from KWS to Aberdare Safari, then an easement to Crystal Kenya that is run by my children. I shouldn't be here talking about Crystal Kenya Limited and my children because they are not part of this proceeding. But they have no other forum to defend themselves, so I have to defend them. They are grown-ups. They should defend themselves, but they don't have the forum. They went to a bank and borrowed 600 million. The documents are there. And bought a hotel and bought the lease. And I publicly announced that my family has acquired the two hotels because there was nothing to hide. I saw no need to advise my children, like other people do, to buy the properties through proxy because this was straight business. They went and borrowed 600 million from the bank. And they were given 1 year moratorium, which is not over, to do the renovations and all that and open the facility. But I want to thank my son, Dr. Keith Rigathi. He worked very hard. That I think last month or so, I was at the Treetops with the British High Commissioner to open the Treetops. The Treetops is so important to the people of Nyeri and the Aberdare ecosystem. It is in the Treetops Hotel that Princess Elizabeth slept as a princess and woke up as a queen. And when that facility was shut down, it was very devastating to the people of Nyeri and the Aberdare ecosystem. So when the people of Nyeri heard that the son of the deputy president is interested in leasing that facility from KWS and reopen it, there was joy and ululation in the Aberdares. Since this hotel opened, 45 Kenyans are back to work. The mama mboga we talked about during our campaign are supplying vegetables to that hotel. The local butchers are supplying meat to that hotel. The traditional Moboko dancers come every weekend to entertain the tourists and get some payment. The tourism circuit of the Aberdare is back because of these two young men who are now being demonized as crooks, as criminals, who should not invest in their own motherland because they are the sons of the deputy president. The deputy president of the Republic of Kenya spends a lot of time in one of his functions that he has been given by the president to coordinate development partners and look for investors. Why should the deputy president go to look for foreign investors when his own children can invest at home? Children of many other people I know hide their money in Dubai and Cayman Islands. They don't want to invest here. What crime have the children of the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya committed by borrowing money from a bank to buy a hotel and spur tourism, create employment, and spur business within the local environment? These boys are so demoralized, asking me, Dad, why didn't you advise us that it's a crime to be your children? That we have no life of our own? That we shouldn't invest in our own country? And if we dare to invest, we should do it at our proxy so that we conceal our identity. Are we criminals by virtue of being your children? That's a question my children are asking me. What crime can children of Kenya commit to borrow money from a bank and start an enterprise and employ people and spur tourism? How unfair can a country be to its young population to condemn them for being enterprising? I'm being told by the National Assembly that I need to be impeached from office because my children have dared to borrow money, buy property in their name and invest in their own country. And for that, their father should be sent home. I want to conclude by Karadi Farm Limited. This is a farm I founded in 2001 with my wife, Pastor Dorcas. And it runs our farms. It runs our dairy farm in Nyeri that is doing very well. I'm making $1 million shillings also every month. And I sell calves and it's doing very well. And my farm now has become a model farm for the local farmers. We are doing chicken, we are doing rabbits, we are doing sheep. Again, nobody has told me what crime has Karandi Farm committed. Technical Supplies and Services Kenya Limited, a company I founded in 2001. I did business during the Kibaki era. When things got very bad, I stopped doing business with it. It has not done business for the last 8 years. And of course, in the 2 years I've been Deputy President. I want proof. Tomorrow, the National Assembly to table proof what these companies have done. They will be very embarrassed before the people of Kenya. This will be the most shameful act ever in the history of our National Assembly, where you go table a motion that is so sensational based on trash and not a single accusation backed by evidence. I have seen an allegation that exerting influence on officials of the Ministry of Lands to issue an allotment letter to Amunyoro Investments Limited and using the fraudulently acquired documents to support a court case. Again, Amunyoro Investments Limited was never allotted any land. This parcel of land, 209/12077, Amunyoro acquired at 24 million shillings in the year 2012. The documents are there, we'll give them to you. Purchase from a third party. Somebody went to the National Land Commission and lodged a case and claimed the property belonged to him, a former senior outside the Ministry of Lands. And the National Land Commission made a determination, the records are there, that the land belongs to Amunyoro Investments Limited. Again, he went to the High Court in the year 2022. I was not Deputy President. I made my witness statement before I became Deputy President. I supplied all documents before I became Deputy President. I did not file any evidence as Deputy President. And the matter was concluded. And the High Court issued a judgment. We'll give you the judgment that the land belongs to Amunyoro Investments Limited. I am told that they have appealed the judgment. I invite the Honorable Mutuse to apply to be co-joined in the appeal, and then he can argue his case. This is a matter that has been adjudicated by the High Court of Kenya and made a determination. And you want to bring it to the National Assembly. The matter is alive with the Court of Appeal. It is sub judice to even discuss it in Parliament because a determination has been made. Irregular procurement of mosquito nets at a cost of 3.7 billion. I saw a huge headline from the Star newspaper, planted headline. This is the most ridiculous headline I've ever seen. And this is the most I lack a proper one, and I don't want to speak in Kikuyu. I think somebody needs to give you some water. What I'm looking for. I have seen that allegation, and I want to respond as follows. One, there is Andrew Mulwa. He has sworn an affidavit with the false allegations, and he had better be very careful, because he has made a statement on oath. In the affidavit, he says that Deputy President was involved in KEMSA 3.7 billion irregular procurement of malaria nets, either directly or through proxies. Further, Shobika Impex Limited is an international company, the fourth largest manufacturer of mosquito nets in the world. It has done many tenders with KEMSA, with the Global Fund, countries in Africa, in Asia. And there was a tender. There was a tender funded by Global Fund through KEMSA, and it was an international tender for manufacturers. The company owned by my son Cristo Kenya Limited are not manufacturers, and they did not participate in any way in the tender. In any way. What happened is that in the year 2014, 8 years before I became Deputy President, Shobika Impex Limited appointed Cristo Kenya as their local agent, whose work is to do their errands and follow their supplies at the ports of entry. Cristo Kenya did not participate in this tender. It was done by Shobika. KEMSA wrote to Shobika and said, your tender was not successful because you had a problem with pagination of your security documents. Pagination. Those of you who have done tenders, you number the pages. And if they are not right, you can be disqualified. And therefore, they were told, can you come and collect your bid board? Your original bid board. That's what happens. If you participate in a tender and you don't win, you are asked to collect your bid board. And they kept on coming to collect the bid board. It was not available for almost 3 months. And they asked the local agent, that is Cristo Kenya Limited, can you follow up on our behalf? We participated in this tender. We did not win. We have a letter asking us to collect the bid board. We are waiting for it because this is money that is tied as our agent in Kenya. Can you follow up? And that is why when my son on behalf of Cristo Kenya Limited went to KEMSA trying to follow up. And when it was not working, he brought it to my attention and I made a call to Mr. Andrew Mulwa asking, my son has been here. There is a little issue about a bid board of an unsuccessful tenderer. Why is it that This is money that is tied. And these are foreigners, these are foreign investors. We don't want to make life difficult for them, please. Why don't you release it to it unless there's a problem? Oh, you say, no, the matter is under investigation. That is why we cannot release it. The bid bodies with the SEC. I said, fine. If the matter is under investigation, so be it. Right along, the investigations were over. EACC wrote to KEMSA and returned the bid board. KEMSA in return wrote to Shobika and returned the bid board. End of story. Shobika did not win the tender. They were not awarded the contract to supply the nets. No nets were supplied by Shobika. No public funds were lost. And we are told by Deputy President asking why a bid board to a tenderer who has failed to win cannot be returned, he endangered the lives of the people of Kenya. That is how absurd the allegation is. There is no evidence that the company with my son participated in the tender. They did not participate. There is no evidence that the Deputy President interfered with the tender. The only crime is that urging so that we don't frustrate foreign investors. If they were not successful, why are you keeping their tender security? You need to give it to them. And it was a lot of money. I think it was 500 million or something like that. So I want to say this is a very ridiculous, and I take great exception to the headline by the Star. Please, we'll give you the documents. Tell us, where was the Deputy President involved in our tender? This is a tender that never was. And for the record, to show that this tender had no problem, after the investigations, during the investigations, the CEO, Terry Ramathani, was suspended to allow investigations as it should be. And Mulwa became the CEO. Mulwa was not there during the tendering. He came after the tender had been annulled. And now he was dealing with the aftermath of the annulment of the tender, that is returning the bid boards, sending document to ACC. After investigations by ACC and the Senate were concluded, Terry Ramadhani was appointed by President William Ruto as the Deputy High Commissioner to India. That tells you, because when those appointments are made, the head of public service writes to ACC, DCI on issues of integrity. Terry was cleared, which means there was no scandal. And again, and most important, no public funds were lost, no nets were supplied. Therefore, this is another fishing expedition to just justify the 5.2 billion. I think that is why they were putting the 3.7 billion to make the maths to add up. You know, when you want to talk big figures, you must look for 3.7, 600 and all that. Even all these things I've read here, if you take your phones, we are nowhere even, we have not reached 2 billion. Because Olive Garden 400 million, Queensgate Apartment 600 million, Outspan and Treetop 600. So these are just figures that were being put to the people of Kenya so that they can see us into bad light. Unnecessary and expensive renovation at the official residence in Karen and Mombasa. How Mutusen knew it's unnecessary, I don't know. He has never been here. You guys were here before. When President William Ruto was deputy president, he was denied funds for 5 years. This place was in very high state of disrepair. It took me 7 months to move in. The roofs were leaking, the toilets were blocked, the septic tanks was broken down, the borehole was broken. There was nothing. Parliament, in its own wisdom, allocated funds for the renovation of this residence. As a deputy president, I have nothing to do with public expenditure. In fact, at that time, the accounting officer between 2022 and 2023 financial year was the State House Controller. Procurement was done, tender was awarded, and the renovations were done. As and you can see, the place looks good. There was need to dignify the office of the Deputy President because he has a function of coordinating development partners. Ambassadors and high commissioners and all sorts of international visitors are always here. So to dignify the office of the Deputy President, the residents needed to be in the right standard, and that is not my decision, and I have nothing to do with it. As for the contractor who was awarded the job, I don't know him, and I don't need to know him. I have no business. Where he transferred his money, I would not know. I have no access to his account. Whether he is related to me, the answer is no. I don't know him. And for the record, I don't wish to know him because it's not necessary. Government expenditure is audited every year by the Auditor General. Since this office was under the executive office of the Deputy President for that financial year, the Auditor General did her inspection and gave us a clean bill of health. The renovations that were done were not highlighted with having any audit query. If the Honorable Mutuse had taken his time to look at the Auditor General's report, he would not have brought this baseless accusation. And even if there was an accusation, it should be directed to the accounting officer who is the State House Controller, not me. I don't deal with procurement, I don't deal with financial management, I don't deal with anything to do with public finances. But since the matter has been raised, I have to answer to it. I have looked at the Auditor General's report, clean. I have looked at the contract, it's signed by the Controller of State House. As to the work, that I can attest, they did a very good job. And this residence has been dignified. The same with the residence in Mombasa. You know, the residence in Mombasa is where President William Ruto and his wife, Mama Rachel, were chased away, and the house allocated to the regional commissioner. And on assuming office, I took up the residence. It was in state of disrepair. Again, it was renovated. It's a good place. And I normally go there when I go to Mombasa. And it makes a lot of sense. Because before the
ambaye ni Thomas Mutise aliweza kurejelea mswada wa kumbandua Rigathi Gachagua afisini, ambapo sawia na hayo, mtazamaji, tumekuwa na wageni wetu ambao tayari wamefika kwenye studio zetu ili kujadili masuala haya ya kubanduliwa kwa naibu wa rais Rigathi Gachagua. Moja kwa moja tuweze kuwatambua. Karibu sana studioni.
Asante sana watazamaji. Kwa majina ni Reverend Dr. Maria Joseph. Tuko hapa kuzungumzia mengi yanayohusu nchi yetu na vile mambo yanaendelea katika nchi yetu. Karibuni.
Karibu sana, karibu sana. Bwana Leon, karibu tena.
Nashukuru sana Bwana Mwaro kwa kunialika tena na tena. Nichukue fursa hii basi kusema asante tena na tena. Jina langu ni Leon Harun.
Yeah. Karibu sana. Moja kwa moja tumemwona naibu wa rais Rigathi Gachagua Bwana Joseph akizungumzia kijaribu kurejesha kuhusiana na madai ambayo amezungumzia hapa, ufisadi ambao Mutuse ameutaja, baadhi ya vipengee ambavyo vimefanya atoe mswada huo kumngatua mamlakani. Labda kwa hisia tofauti ambazo labda ni kinzani na hayo, je, wewe labda taswira gani ambayo imechora kutokana na matamshi haya?
Ile taswira ambayo imechora katika akili zangu kulingana na matamshi haya, jambo la kwanza ni kwamba najiuliza kwa nini aweze kututolea haya maoni yote.
Naam.
Na pengine siku yake ya kujitetea ni Jumanne pale ambayo ni kesho pale bungeni. Na kama vile unaelewa bunge vile imetengenezwa iko kiwango moja na ile tunaita mahakama kuu High Court. Na kesi yote ambayo inapopelekwa mahakamani lazima uwe na utafiti wa kutosha.
Kweli.
Naona? Na pengine wakati atakuja kujitetea ama vile anavyojitetea sasa ni kama anaonyesha ule utafiti ambao ulikuwa umefanywa na ule mbunge ambaye amepeleka mswada. Ni kama ule hakuwa amefanya utafiti wa kutosha.
Kweli.
Na sikuelewa kwa nini wabunge, na ni kama ndio mahakama, sikuelewa ni kwa nini wabunge pia na wao wenyewe waliweza kutia sahihi ya kwamba ule mswada waweze kumngatua deputy president. Unanielewa? Kwa sababu kama vile High Court inaendelea lazima angepewa nafasi yake kwanza ya kusikilizwa. Unaona, hata ingawa wamerudisha mswada kwa wananchi waongee na waone kama watamngatua nani, watamngatua deputy president. Kwa hivyo ile taswira imeingia kwa mawazo yangu ni kwamba kama hivyo anasema kwa document ya kwamba hii zote ameletewa ni kama allegations si za kweli, inamaanisha, kwa hivyo inamaanisha huyu mbunge hakufanya utafiti wa kutosha
kabla apeleke mswada huo.
Na kwa hivyo kama hakufanya utafiti wa kutosha, basi kama huu mswada wote itakuwa ni kazi ya bure, basi wana Kenya tunahitaji tujiulize swali moja. Wale wabunge tuko nao bungeni wanastahili kuwa wabunge ama wanastahili kuwa nani?
Ndio hilo swali linaelekea kwa Bwana Harun, kama wewe labda kwa taswira yako ni kipi ambacho kimeonyesha kwamba jinsi naibu wa rais Rigathi Gachagua anapoendelea kuzungumza kwamba ameongelea ufisadi ambao ametaja kwamba ni jambo ambalo limechukua muda mrefu kuzungumzia, ambapo wengi wametarajia kuzungumza tofauti na venye tumetarajia. Labda kwa taswira yako umeonelea ni kipi ambacho kipo hapa kwenye mswada?
Bwana Maro. Binafsi nimeona kwamba naibu wa rais anajaribu kuwatayarisha Wakenya. Anajaribu tuseme kwamba anajaribu kuwachochea Wakenya kimsimamo fulani kwa kuambia mapema kwamba kesho nitasema hivi bungeni. Amesema wazi kwamba amealikwa bungeni kesho saa 11 jioni. Amesema atakuwa pale kuchanganua na kujibu maswala yote ambayo tayari amejibu. Kwa hivyo wanasema kwamba kesho anaenda kufanya kauli ya kurudia. Naam, kesho akiingia pale bungeni ana kauli ya kurudia. Atarudia kile ambacho amesema sasa. Na unasema kwamba ukirudia jambo, ukisema jambo kwa mara ya kwanza mtu anasikia na sikio. Ukisema kwa mara ya pili mtu asikii na sikio tena, anasikia na nafsi. Sasa kesho anataka kuzungumza na nafsi za Wakenya. Ameshazungumza na masikio. Kesho nataka kazungumze na nafsi za Wakenya. Na ndio maana ametangulia kusema kwamba nitaenda pale bunge, nitazungumza, natumai kwamba wabunge watanipa fursa, watanyamaza nipate kuzungumza. Lakini kile ambacho mimi binafsi nimebaki kujiuliza, kumbuka kwamba taarifa yenyewe ilisema kwamba atazungumza saa 1.
Kweli.
Ni kipi ambacho kimetokea katikati ya saa 1 ama kabla ya saa 1 ikawa kwamba taarifa ama kutoa hotuba yake hiyo imesukumwa hadi saa 1:30? Hilo ni swala ambalo Wakenya lazima wajiulize. Ni swali ambalo ni balaa. Ile naona kesho akiingia bungeni ako tayari, amejihami, amefanya uchunguzi, amefanya utafiti. Kama alivyosema mchungaji hapa, amesema kwamba pale ni kama mahakama. Hoja zishatolewa, kwa nini anabaduliwa. Sasa pale akifika anaenda kujitetea na ashajitetea. Amezungumza na Wakenya. Kwa hivyo kesho anaenda kuzungumza na nafsi za Wakenya. Kwa hiyo kile nahisi kwamba ukiongelea kwa upande wa siasa amechochea hisia fulani kwa Wakenya. Kwa hivyo kuna Wakenya ambao wanamuunga mkono na kuna wale wasiomuunga mkono. Sasa kile ambacho anasubiri ni kuona kile na kimombo tunaita reaction ya baada ya kuzungumza. Kuna wale watareact na kuna wale watarespond. Kwa hivyo kile ambacho anangoja ni masuala haya mawili, reaction na response. Ndio ajue jinsi ya kuzungumza katika bunge kesho saa 11 jioni.
Moja kwa moja hapo ndipo tunaelekea ili tuweze kujadili. Bwana Meriale, nimegundua kwamba kuna baadhi ya mawakili wamejitokeza zaidi ya 10 kuweza kusimama na Rigathi Gachagua kwenye bunge la kitaifa kuelezea hoja hizi ambazo zimetolewa kumbandua. Labda moja kwa moja labda utuelezee kinagaubaga. Ni yapi, ni kipi kinachotarajiwa kufuatwa kutokana na hili?
Nikikujibu swali lako, kwanza nikwambie ni kawaida ya mawakili.
Kweli.
Mahala popote kunaonekana kunaweza tokezea kesi. ni kawaida ya mawakili kujitokeza. Either wanajitokeza kwa njia mbili, kwa njia ya kulipwa ama kwa njia ya kutoa huduma zao, inaitwa pro bono service. Ambaye anajitolea kwa huduma zake ni mtu ambaye anaona kweli hii maneno ambayo yanazungumzwa ya deputy president ni uhasama ambao haujatiliwa maanani kisheria ama umevuja sheria kiwango fulani. Kuna mwingine naye analipwa ili aweze kutetea hoja za deputy president. Sheria inakuwa ni msumeno, ndivyo wanasema. Inakata kuwili. Sheria inaweza kukufunga na sheria inaweza kukutoa. Kulingana na utetezi wa wakili ambao uko na wao. Kulingana na vile wanavyofahamu vipengele vya kisheria. Unaona? Kwa hivyo pale tunatarajia kuona utetezi wa hali ya juu sana. Utetezi wa hali ya juu sana. Wa hali ya juu kivipi? Pale nimeona kuna wakili ambaye ni senior counsel, Mheshimiwa Mwite. Paul Mwite. Na Paul Mwite kwa wakili wake, mara nyingi ambapo nishawahi msikiliza, ni mtu ambaye anafanya utafiti wa kutosha kwa vile kesi zilikuwa zimefanywa hapo mbeleni. Kwa hivyo ana debate na kitu tunaita case law. Kama kulikuwa na kesi nyingine kama hivyo, ilitatuliwa kivipi? Na ujue kama kesi ilitatuliwa, ilisuluhishwa kwa njia fulani na jaji fulani, na huyu mwingine akuja aletewe hiyo case law, hawezi akaivuja ile case law kwa sababu imekuwa ni sheria. Unaona? Na Mwite anaweza kuja na kuongea mambo ya sheria za hapa nchini na international law. Kwa hivyo, na kwa sababu pale tunaona allegation ya deputy president kwamba amevuja sheria za kimataifa, international law, amevuja hizo sheria zote kulingana na zile allegations zimeletwa pale bungeni. Kwa hivyo ndio ameleta mawakili ambao ni gwiji wa sheria. Wanaelewa vyema mambo ya kisheria. Unaona? Na anataka hiyo sheria waweze kuitatua yote na kuiweka mashimo kuonyesha ya kwamba kuna gaps ambapo hazija kuwa filled. Ya kwanza, sheria inadili na mambo mawili. Inadili na kitu inaitwa facts and law. Kumaanisha kuna ile facts ambao ni kama tuseme kwa mfano ameambiwa kampuni ni yake na facts inaonyesha kampuni ni yake. Lakini swala zaidi ya hapo ni kwamba hii kampuni ikiwa yake imevuja sheria. Kweli kampuni ni yake, allegation ni kwamba kampuni ni yake, sawa ni yake. Lakini imevuja sheria
ama imehusika vipi?
Ama kuhusika kwake imevuja sheria. Imekuwa registered legally, ina operate legally. Vile imepata biashara vizuri ama imepata biashara kupitia kwa mlango wa kando. Kama imepata vizuri na allegation ya kwamba facts ya kwamba inaonyesha kampuni ni yake, lakini huyu anasema imefanya biashara vibaya, lakini sheria inaonyesha imefanya sheria vizuri, hii allegation itakuwa nullified. Unaona? Kwa hivyo hiyo ndio mambo wataangalia kwa kiudani sana. Ya pili wataangalia deputy president akiingia kuwa rais, akuwa deputy president wa Kenya, alikuwa na utajiri wa kiasi gani wake mwenyewe.
Ambapo sasa tumemwona akizungumza.
Yake mwenyewe, wacha ya familia. Sasa kutoka aingie ameongeza utajiri kiasi gani? Asilimia ambayo ameongeza nayo ni asilimia ambayo inaweza kuonekana ya kweli ameongeza ile asilimia bila wizi. Unaona? Kama hakuna wizi umeongezeka, basi hizi allegations zote zimepelekwa bunge, tunaziita is hot air. Sawa sawa. Lakini kama imeongezeka na iko na maswali, lazima ataelezea. Lakini akielezea na kuonekana kuna biashara alikuwa anafanya zake na bado akiwa deputy president biashara zilikuwa zinaendelea zinaleta faida, basi atakuwa amefanya kosa gani? Hamna kosa atakuwa ameifanya.
Ndio tunakuja kwenye joto la kisiasa sasa.
Na ndipo sasa unaona yeye mwenyewe amezungumza kwa wananchi kwa sababu anajua bunge inaweza kosa kumpatia huo muda. Kwa hivyo anataka kuambia wananchi yale mumesikia saa hizi, kama hamtaisikia bungeni nikiongea, mjue ni kuficha wameficha. Ni muda wako nipatia muda wa kutosha. Kwa hivyo ameleta siasa zingine. Kwa sababu wengine watasema alisema hivi jana, mbona bunge haikutaka asungumuze haya maneno? Na tena itakuwa ni siasa kali. Kwa sababu yako na document. na atataka wale ambao wanataka kumngatua watoe document za kuonyesha hizi ameongea ni za uongo na zao ni za ukweli, na waonyeshe ni za ukweli kiasi gani. Unaona? Kwa hivyo wanatufungulia mlango wa kisiasa. Hata sisi ambao si wanasiasa tutatazama.
Kweli kabisa.
Yeah, in the stage.
Na ndio moja kwa moja tunaelekea sasa kisiasa. Joto la kisiasa limeanza kuibua wasiwasi mkali Bwana Leon. Kama mchanganuzi wa siasa, jinsi ambavyo unavyoona kwamba naibu wa rais na rais mwenyewe tumekuja kujitokeza wiki kadhaa kwamba hawajaelewana. Na mpaka imefikia kwamba wale wabunge wale wa ndani wameanza kujitokeza kumpiga vita. Na hili ni swala ambalo labda kisiasa labda unaweza kulizungumzia vipi kufikia sasa tunamwona naibu wa rais Rigathi Gachagua akikumbwa na mswada wa kumwondoa afisini.
Bwana Mwana.
Naam.
Siasa iliyopo kwa sasa ama tuseme siasa iliyowaleta naibu wa rais na rais pamoja.
Naam.
Ndoa yenyewe inaelekea kuvunjika.
Naam.
Ndoa imeyumba. Na iwapo itanusurika katika mawimbi haya ambayo yapo sasa hivi.
Kweli?
Mawimbi haya ambayo yanaendelea sasa hivi. Iwapo itanusurika basi itakuwa ni kwa muda tu. Itakuwa ni kwa muda, maana ndoa yenyewe imekufa. Ila watailazimisha tu kama atanusurika naibu wa rais pale bungeni, kama atanusurika. Watailazimisha wakamalize. Lakini ikija uchaguzi ujao, mimi sioni kana kwamba watakuwa pamoja.
Naam.
Naibu wa rais anayefuata njia ya kwake, naye rais atatafuta naibu wake mwingine.
Kwa hivyo ni njia moja ambayo labda rais atajitoa kwake.
Na kulingana rais atabaki atafute naibu wake. Naye bwana naibu wa rais kwa sasa itambidi naye amue kama atasimama urais, na mimi sioni kama atasimama urais.
Naam.
Sioni kana kwamba ataenda kusimama urais. Huenda asisimame hata naibu urais, lakini huenda kaunga mtu mkono, maana amejipima. Ukiangalia ni kurudisha nyuma kidogo kwa swala la kisiasa.
Naam.
Katiba ambayo tunatumia mwaka 2010.
Naam.
Rais wa sasa Bwana William Ruto alisimama peke yake wakati nchi nzima ilikuwa inasema tupitishe katiba.
Ni kweli.
Naye akasimama pamoja na wahubiri na wachungaji akasimama. Ni wakati ambao ukiangalia watu ambao walipiga kura kuangusha katiba mwaka 2010 walikuwa kutoka eneo fulani ambalo ana umaarufu sana rais wetu. Na alipojipima akaona kwamba mimi sasa nimekomaa kisiasa. Akajua kwamba mimi naweza kuambia watu wanifuate, wakanifuata. Basi hapo akajua kwamba mimi nimetosha kuwa rais. Nimetosha kuwa naibu wa rais. Sasa jambo ambalo lilitendeka ile public participation ambayo ilitendeka on Friday. Ni jambo ambalo mimi ningeulizwa kisiasa. Naweza sema ni kile ambacho tunaita on goal katika masuala ya soka. Aliyeshauri kwamba swala hili liende kwa wananchi, basi alijifunga mwenyewe, maana wananchi waliotarajia wananchi waseme hawakusema. Naye naibu wa rais ametazama akaona kwamba ukiangalia katika jamii ya Mlima Kenya, kubali ukatae, naibu wa rais ana ushawishi na ambao ni mkubwa sana. Ushawishi ambao wakati alikuwa mjumbe wa pale Madhira hakuwa nao. Ushawishi ambao ameupata kutokana na kiti cha naibu wa rais. Ni kusema kwamba iwapo naibu wa rais atatoa mwelekeo fulani wakati ama mwaka wa 2027, kama atatoa mwelekeo fulani, basi atakuwa na ushawishi mkubwa sana wa kisiasa. Na mimi katika maoni yangu binafsi, wale ambao wanampinga naibu wa rais kwa sasa katika Mlima Kenya, wote wamechimba kaburi lao la kisiasa.
Kwa hivyo inamaanisha kwamba huenda njia zao za kisiasa huenda
milango yao kisiasa katika jamii ya Mlima Kenya wasipobadilika,
akiwemo mbunge Chungwa,
akiwemo kiongozi wa wengi bungeni Kimani Chungwa. Uangalie kwamba yeye binafsi katika public participation hakuenda katika eneo bunge, hakuhusika. Niruhusu ukiangalia mjumbe wa Thika Town hakuenda. Ukiangalia mbunge wa Gatundu South hakuenda. Wale ambao wanampiga naibu wa rais katika eneo la Mlima Kenya na ambao wanatoka Mlima Kenya, hakuna ambaye alithubutu kuingia mashinani. Ni kusema kwamba hata hao wanaufahamu kwamba walitazama wakaona. Maana wana watu pale kwa ground ambao wanawaambia kwamba hapa mwananchi wa kawaida anasema hivi. Kwa hivyo wamepata habari wakajuzwa kwamba hapa na ndio maana kuambia hili jambo ambalo limetendeka kama public participation limempatia naibu wa rais kile ambacho kinaitwa political mileage. ambayo kupata tena ama kumuondoa katika ile political mileage ambayo wamemtupia ni vigumu sana.
Vigumu.
Bwana Maro, niruhusu kidogo tu niseme hivi. Wakati alipokuwa rais Bwana Uhuru Kenyatta alimpa rais wa sasa Bwana Ruto nafsi kubwa sana na akaambia watu wa jamii ya Mlima Kenya kwamba sisi tumesema ni huyu kwa miaka 5. Alitembea eneo la Mlima Kenya miaka 5 ya kwanza akizungumza, mimi nikiondoka na muacha huyu naibu wa rais, nikiondoka na muacha huyu naibu wa rais. Akaingia katika nafsi za jamii ya Mlima Kenya.
Na ni kweli.
Na walipopiga kura, hata alipowaambia tuelekee hivi, walipopiga kura wakapiga na msimamo
mmoja kwa sababu walimsikiza mara ya kwanza.
Walimsikiza. Na sasa kile ambacho kimetendeka, ukiangalia public participation ambayo ilitendeka katika eneo la Mlima Kenya. Achana na maneno ya kumbandua naibu wa rais. Tuiangalie katika mtazamo wa kisiasa. Naibu wa rais sasa anajua kwamba mimi, wapende wasipende, ndiye political kingpin wa Mount Kenya in the absence of the former president Bwana Uhuru Kenyatta.
Lakini imeonekana kwamba juzi tumesikia mitandao ya kijamii kwamba huenda labda ikakisiwa kwamba Uhuru Kenyatta ambaye ni aliyekuwa rais ni kwamba ana ushawishi mkubwa pia Mlima Kenya. Kwa hivyo hajaunga mkono nafasi ya Bwana Rigathi Gachagua. Imesemekana kwamba hajamuunga mkono kivyovyote vile. Labda kumekuwa na tofauti za kisiasa.
Ukweli ni kwamba kimya wakati mwingine uzungumza zaidi. Ingekuwa hamuungi mkono, angejitokeza kadamnasi kupeana mwelekeo. Mimi sisemi kwamba anamuunga mkono. Kile ambacho nasema ni kwamba hapingani naye. Hapingani naye. Sijasema anamuunga mkono. Kile nasisitiza ni kwamba hapingani naye. Ukiangalia wale ambao walikuwa wanamuunga mkono Rais Kenyatta ndio ambao wamekuwa akisema kwamba huyu ni wetu asibaduliwe.
Na ni kweli.
Wale walimuunga mkono Rais Kenyatta wamesema kwamba huyu aliyepo kwa sasa ambaye ni naibu rais asibaduliwe.
Kwa asilimia kubwa.
Kwa asilimia kubwa. Ndio maana nimesema kwamba kile ambacho amepata naibu wa rais ni political mileage ambayo kuiondoa kwake itakuwa vigumu.
Ni moja kwa moja tuelekee sasa tukizungumzia kama jamii. Huenda jamii kaadhirika kivipi kwa upande huo Bwana Joseph, ili tuweze kungamua iwapo naibu wa rais atangatuliwa. Kwa sababu ana nafasi ngapi? Ana nafasi moja zaidi. Baada ya bunge anatarajiwa kuhojiwa na seneti. Maana kuna mchakato mkali hapo. Je, katika siasa hizi huenda ikaadhiri vipi jamii nzima kama mtaalamu wa masuala ya kijamii?
Kwanza niseme niunge mwenzangu mkono hapa.
Naam.
Wakati hili swala la kumngatua naibu wa rais lilipofika bungeni na likajadiliwa na kukawa na public participation, jamii wameathirika.
Kweli?
Tayari wameathirika. Na ukitaka kujua wameathirika, end on the ground. Utasikia wengine wanasema kama huyu anaondoka, tikiti ilikuwa ni moja. Waondoke wote
pamoja.
Kwa hivyo yule mtu alikuwa anashikilia rais William Samoei Ruto, ambaye alimshikilia kwamba anampenda, anamuenzi. Na sasa naona yeye anapiga mtoto wao. Ile roho ilikuwa kwa rais imeondoka. Imemuondoka. Na kuirudisha ile roho si kazi rahisi. Wa pili, kuna wengine wanasema hatumtaki Gachagua, tunataka aende. Kwa sababu wamepewa siasa ambayo si za kweli. Kuna wengine nilisikiza wakisema ya kwamba huyu deputy president amechukua pesa zetu amepeleka mlimani. Kwa hivyo tunataka aende. Amepeleka pesa zetu mlimani. Nikajiuliza huyu mtu kweli anaelewa kile anasema? Lakini ni ile maneno ameuziwa. Kwa hiyo unajua siasa inachezwa mara mbili. Siasa lazima ujue ni wangapi ambao wako na reasoning power na ni wangapi ambao reasoning capacity iko chini. Ili ucheze na wao wako chini, waonyeshe ya kwamba kabisa wamedhulumiwa na huyu mtu hata kama hawamjui. Wale wako na reasoning power unajaribu kuwapatia ideas to reason. Unaona? Na diposa unaona deputy president pale zile ideas watu walikuwa wamepewa ndizo wanajaribu kunullify. Kuonyesha yes you are given this information lakini the true information is this one. Unaona? So that wewe ambao uko na akili ambao inaweza iko na high reasoning capacity unaweza kureason.
Kweli.
Fortunately or unfortunately wananchi wote dunia nzima huwa wamegawanywa vikundi vinne. Kikundi cha kwanza ni wale ambao tunaweza kuwaita waelewa. Wanaelewa kila kitu, wanaelewa inaelekea wapi, wanaelewa sababu. Wanakuwa 10%. Sawa sawa? Wa pili ni wale tunaita kwa Kiingereza sideliners. Wanakaa kando kidogo, waone mambo inaendelea namna gani. Wakiona hii upande ina shida wanakuja mbio. Wakiona hii nyingine ina shida wanaanguka kwa upande huu mwingine. Ndio unaona hata kwa vyama vya siasa wanahamahama kwa sababu wao wanataka kukaa kando. Unaona? Kuna wengine tunaita fence sitters. Wako juu ya ukuta. Wameangalia wakiwa juu ya ukuta. Wajue nitaanguka kwa upande gani. Sawa sawa? Na wa mwisho tunawaita confused. Hawa ambao tunawaita sideliners huwa tunasema wako 40%. Hao wengine wako 30%. Kwa hivyo they make 70%. Unaona? Plus 10% ya wale wanajua kule wanaenda. Hiyo inakuwa 80%. Confused is only 20%. Hao ndio watu hata pengine ukienda pale kijijini ukiwaambia, fulani amefanya ajabu fulani, wanaamini. Huyo kuja mwambia hata si fulani alifanya ni fulani, anaamini huyo kwa sababu ako confused. Kwa hivyo wakati hizi siasa zinachezwa, watu wale huwa wanaathirika sana ni the confused lot. Kwa sababu wajui waanguke wapi. Hawa ambao wanaitwa fence sitters na sideliners, hao ndio wanakulia siasa. Unaona? Kwa sababu hawa wanakuja huku wanakuambia tuko pamoja, wanaenda pale wanasema tuko pamoja, lakini ukishindwa wanaingia huko. Na ndio unaona wakati mmoja ameshida, amewin ameshida, ndio unapata wale walikuwa na muoposi wanasema sasa tuko pamoja. Kwa sababu they are sideliners ama wako fence sitter. Kwa hivyo community imeathirika na tayari wataendelea kuathirika kwa matokeo yote ambayo itafanyika. Kuna wale watakaa hata watasema tutakufa pamoja na deputy president. Na kuna wale wanasema tutampenda rais iwe vipi. Sasa kile kitafanyika. Kwa mfano, tuseme deputy president ameng'atuliwa.
Labda tuweze kumsikiza nadhani moja kwa moja naona anaendelea kuzungumza bwana naibu wa rais Rigathi Gachagua. Hebu tumsikize kwa ufupi tu alafu tutakuwa tukirejelea kwenye gumzo letu moja kwa moja.
Undertaking duties assigned to him by the president to fight illicit brews and drugs across the country should be impeached because by doing so he is interfering with the devolution. I held meetings in Nyeri attended by Governor Kahiga, Governor Waiguru, Governor Irogo Kangata, Governor Wamatangi, Governor Kiari Badilisha. I held a meeting in Chuka attended by governors of Embu, of Tharaka Nithi, of Meru. I attended a meeting in Mombasa attended by governors of Kwale, a representative of the governor of Mombasa, the governor of Taita Taveta, a representative of the governor of Lamu, to discuss. I held a meeting in Nakuru, nearly with all governors present, and all of us jointly, under my chairmanship, the Ministry of Interior and Governors, we agreed on how to tackle the menace of illicit brews. And we have a good story to tell. Out of those efforts, our young men who are sleeping in trenches are back home. Women are very happy their husbands are back home and they are bringing food. In fact, some children have been born. Some have even been named Rigiji because of the effort that I have put in fighting illicit brews. I think the people of Kenya would be shocked to hear tonight that one of the accusations against their deputy president and why he should go home is because he led the battle to fight illicit brews and drugs that has caused havoc among our young people. Please, if Rigathi Gachagua is a problem, Why don't you assign this job to somebody else? Because this job must be done. We must get our children off drugs. We must fight illicit alcohol. And saying that you want to impeach the deputy president because fighting illicit brews and drugs is interfering with the devolution. I think this is the greatest joke of the year. Even the 291 MPs who signed this motion, most of them, because I know them, have looked for me personally to thank me for the way I have successfully led the war against drugs and illicit brews. And that is why that sham public participation should have had my responses, so that the women could hear that one of the accusations against the deputy president is that he should be sent home because he was leading the war against illicit brews and drugs. I don't know. I think there is something wrong in this country. That somebody has sat down to draft a motion to impeach the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya. And one of the grounds is that he has interfered with the devolution by leading the war to fight illicit brews and drugs. This is a height of absurdity. And Parliament will be the theater of the absurd. I would like to hear what is the nexus between fighting illicit brew and interfering with the devolution. I would like to know. I've never had any governor complain. I've never had any MCA complain. I've never had any Kenyan complain. The only Kenyans who have complained are few. They are the manufacturers who are manufacturing poison under the guise of producing alcohol. Those are the only few ones. I beg the National Assembly and the Senate, most of the National Assembly, to save face, to consider striking this ground before the motion tomorrow, because it sounds ridiculous to the people of Kenya. Again, if Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has to be sent home for fighting drugs and illicit alcohol, so be it. Sensational statements against the National Intelligence Service and its Director General and other officers. My response. In addition to this allegation, I wish to state that the National Intelligence Service holds a very critical role in ensuring the safety and security of our country. They are responsible for gathering intelligence and share it with all our law enforcement agencies to ensure that the country is safe at all times. Consequently, when the country was caught flat-footed with regard to the scope and extent of the public's dissatisfaction with the Finance Bill 2024, which degenerated in the Gen Z protests, it pointed to the failure of the National Intelligence Service in carrying out its mandate. I am persuaded that the National Intelligence Service ought to have known beforehand that the public was completely opposed to the Finance Bill, and they ought to have briefed the President before the protests began, as this would have caused a change of tact by government regarding the proposed bill, and protest which culminated in the loss of innocent lives and destruction of property could have been avoided. Hence, I express my opinion, as this is in my public media briefing in Mombasa, and my utterances were not any different from what happens to other countries when there is lapse or failure by the intelligence agencies. Many of you will recall that after September 11th terrorist attack in the US, the US intelligence agencies were massively criticized, and inquiry was even opened to investigate why the intelligence agency was not able to detect and thwart the terror attack. Under the Constitution of Kenya, the government agencies are supposed to be accountable to the Kenyan people, including the National Intelligence Service, and calling them out when there is The delegation of duty does not amount to undermining them. In any case, the Director General of NIS is not above the law. He is a public officer. Just like the President, the Deputy President, Cabinet Ministers, he too is subject to criticism like any other public officer. In fact, I'll have videos. President William Ruto, as Deputy President, at one time criticized the then Director General of the National Intelligence Service. In another video, he heavily criticized the then Inspector General of Police for the performance. I have learned from my boss how this job is done. It's clear. It's done. I mean, nobody, the President is criticized daily. The Deputy President is criticized daily. And we take no offense. The Director General of the National Intelligence Service is not above the law. He is a public officer. He is accountable to the people of Kenya. And when one feels he has underperformed, he'll be called out. Because that is the nature of the Kenyan state. And this I learned from my boss when he was Deputy President. Again, there was an issue that the President and I committed ourselves publicly that never again in our administration shall ever we allow abductions and extrajudicial killings. Despite the police keeping on misleading the President to say that there are no abductions, you all know, you have evidence on video that they have happened. And that is what I commented, and I said it is wrong. And because I'm a truthful person, I'll say what is wrong when it happens. Despite the fact that I am compelled by the principle of collective responsibility to be part and parcel of every decision made by government, that I'll continue to do so, but only those decisions that are constitutional and within the rule of law. Abductions and judicial killings are unconstitutional. I will never support them. President William Ruto has been criticized left, right, and center. I have not seen him take anybody to court for criticizing him. Why is Rigathi Gachagua being impeached for calling out the Director General of the National Intelligence Service? The Deputy President is criticized daily. The judiciary is criticized daily. The media is criticized daily, including the Star, whom I've criticized today. But that is as far as it goes. And again, despite being just the Deputy President, I enjoy a constitutional right in the Bill of Rights, freedom of speech. And if the Director General of the National Intelligence Service was aggrieved, there are mechanisms of how he can take me to court and sue me for defamation. And I'll be able to argue why I said what I said. So that is not a ground for impeachment. I mean, that is curtailing liberties, the freedom of expression, the freedom to hold public officers accountable for their actions. And I want to say finally, I think I've literally addressed all the grounds because I felt it's important for the people of Kenya to know the allegations against the Deputy President and his responses. And as you have heard, though you are not judges and you are not advocates, there is nothing here that violates the Constitution. There is no gross misconduct. There is no crime that has been committed. I'm innocent on all these charges. And I want to clarify, my apology yesterday to the president did not in any way imply that I'm guilty of these charges. I'm not. I'm not. My statement was that if there is something I've done to the president that I don't know, that probably has upset him, I ask for his forgiveness. But that was in no way an admission of this ridiculous allegations meant to overturn the will of the people. Finally, in conclusion, I want to say that overturning the will of the people is not a joke. It calls for very serious violation of the Constitution. None of these issues here meets the threshold. We'll go to Bunge tomorrow. I'll be there at 5 for 2 hours, and I'll put my case. In the unfortunate event it proceeds to the Senate, I'll be there again to prove my innocence by way of evidence. When I called this press conference, there was a lot of speculation that Rigathi Gachagua wants to resign. This is a man elected by 7.2 million Kenyans. How dare you suggest to him that he can do so without public participation? I have no intention whatsoever to resign from this job. I'll fight to the end. I have tremendous respect for our judiciary and the professional judges of the High Court, the Court of Appeal, and the Supreme Court. And in the professional manner, they have handled serious issues affecting Kenya. The impeachment of a deputy president elected by 7.2 million Kenyans is not a small matter that can hastily be decided by a few members of parliament and senators and wish it away. I'll submit myself to independent institutions to get justice. And I'm sure, I have no doubt in my mind that I'll get justice. And this impeachment will be thrown out. And I'll carry out my duties as deputy president. That is why anybody sending feelers to me to resign is a joker. And I found a few of people using my friends to come and sweet talk to me. Please, my friends, I don't want to become enemies with you. When you are given such silly messages, don't bring them to me. I have no intention. I cannot resign. I did not give myself this job. I was given by the people of Kenya. I've done nothing wrong against the people of Kenya whatsoever. I've worked hard. I've been very loyal to my boss, President William Ruto. I have worked hard every day. And I will not be distracted. I think there's one issue I've forgotten, one ground. The issue of the shareholding, isn't it? Even you guys can remind me if there is one issue that I have not dealt with. Can somebody there give me my notes on shareholding? Yeah, I have them here. That's okay. Yeah. This is an important one. Yeah. There are several. I had not. There are a few silly ones. There's one that. I'm conniving with cartels in the tea sector to block ATDA from implementing guaranteed minimum returns that would benefit small traders. The allegation is not true. No evidence whatsoever has been adduced to substantiate this claim. As far as I know, I've successfully completed my mandate, which was assigned to me by the President, which culminated into creating synergy between people who had taken KTDA to court and suspended the operation of the Tea Act. As a result, the Tea Act now is in operation. The President never mandated me to take over the affairs of the Ministry of Agriculture. He asked me to spearhead tea reforms. I did the tea conference in Kericho, brought all the stakeholders together, and as a result, I created a synergy among all the stakeholders, and we agreed that those people who had gone to court withdraw the cases, and now the Tea Act is operational, and that will see meaningful reforms. As to claims that I have stopped the selling of tea in Mombasa, there is no evidence to that effect, and I want to call upon the Honorable Mutuse to provide that evidence. Again, in matters coffee, I was given the job by the President to initiate coffee reforms, which I have done successfully. I held the coffee conference in Meru for 3 days in 2023. For the last 2 years, I have been working with stakeholders, including members of Parliament and the Senate, which has culminated into 2 bills, the Coffee Bill 2023 and the Cooperative Bill 2023. These 2 bills, the Coffee Bill 2023, will see the reintroduction of the Coffee Board of Kenya that will market coffee for farmers without putting profit. We have also recommended the reintroduction of the Coffee Research Foundation or the Coffee Research Institute in Roiro to work on better varieties and drought-resistant crops. Through my efforts, again, I have completed my work. The 2 bills are before the National Assembly. I call upon members of the National Assembly immediately after the impeachment process to embark on these 2 bills and see them to fruition so that farmers can enjoy the work we have done in coffee reforms. I have seen another absurd, that I have taken control of a local cooperative society in Madira constituency where I was a member of Parliament. This is false. I should be told which society by name, because I know all the societies. I know all the farmers by name. It's really ridiculous. Again, there is no evidence. There is nothing. It's just trying to spoil my name before the people of Madeira who elected me as their member of Parliament. On the issues of shareholding, I think this matter has been discussed for a long time, and I think it's good tonight I put it in proper perspective. I wish to state that the allegation is equally false. None of my family members, allies, or associates are in control of any cooperative society in Madeira. That one I had done. In shareholding, by virtue of the provisions of the 3rd schedule of the Political Parties Act, the constituent parties of Kenya Kwanza Coalition entered into various agreements which were deposited with the Speaker of the National Assembly and the Speaker of the Senate for purposes of Article 108 of the Constitution of Kenya. 16.2, the following were members parties of Kenya Kwanza: UDA, ANC, Ford Kenya, PAR, Farmers Party, Chama cha Kazi, Communist Party, Economic Freedom Party, the Service Party, Tujibebe wa Kenya Party, Umoja na Maendeleo Party of Kenya, and the Democratic Party of Kenya. In accordance with provisions of Clause 3E of Schedule 5 of the Political Parties Act, each of the agreements contained in a power-sharing development agenda for certain regions in Kenya. I attach here copies of the said agreement. I'll give you the Kenya Kwanza agreement so that you know when I talk about shareholding. I'm not talking about Kenyans. I'm talking about this agreement that was signed by President William Ruto and almost everybody else on how power will be shared. I've never talked about sharing resources. I have been talking about power sharing for people to get what they deserve in sharing power in accordance with this agreement. Like, for example, in an agreement between UDA, ANC, and Ford Kenya, the UDA would nominate the president and the deputy presidential candidates, which has happened. I got my share, although I have no share certificate. The president would guarantee the stature, dignity, financial and operational autonomy of those of the deputy president. It's in the agreement. The office of the deputy president will be allowed specific duties identified at Article 21 of the agreement. ANC will be allocated a position of prime cabinet secretary to be established within 14 days. It was given to Musalia. The office of the deputy president, Ford Kenya will be allocated the position of the Speaker of the National Assembly, which was given to Moses Wetangula. In accord with Article 2.1 of the Power Sharing Agreement, ANC and Ford Kenya would have a 30% share of national government positions. So, the Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, the Honorable Wetangula, and the people of Western, please don't condemn Rigathi Gachagua. The agreement is here, defining your share in the government. It is not me. I did not sign this document. It was signed by Musalia, Wetangula, and President William Ruto. So when I say about this share thing in terms of positions, I've never talked about resources, about development. Although it is also here, is that regions bargained with the president for shares. Musalia Mudavadi and Moses Wetangula bargained for 30% of shares within the Kenya Kwanza government. Although they were also supposed to give us 70% of the vote, which they did not. Nevertheless, since they gave a certain vote, they are still entitled to some share one way or another. So it is not Rigathi Gachagua who said that a government is like a company. It is the agreement of the Kenya Kwanza, which I will be tabling in the National Assembly. It is not me. It went ahead to say it. He said, ANC and Ford Kenya would have 30% share of national government positions. That is cabinet secretaries, principal secretaries, high commissioners, ambassadors, diplomatic and consular representatives, chairpersons of state corporations, directors of state corporations, chairpersons and commissions of constitutional commissions, provided the 30% share is to be shared equally between the ANC and Ford Kenya. Sasa mimi nikiambia watu wafuate share yao, makosa yangu ni gani? Iko hapa. I did not sign. They went ahead. Musalia Mudavadi and Wetangula. And they must follow these things. Because I will not follow for them because I was not party to the Western agreement. The agreements were with regions. So when people say I'm dividing regions, I'm simply following the Kenya Kwanza agreement of the way it was debated. They went ahead and said, Article 22 of sharing agreement set out a list of priority projects which Kenya Kwanza would endeavor to fulfill in the ANC and Ford Kenya strongholds of Western Kenya between 2022 to 2027 on a priority basis. Musalia Mudavadi and Wetangula signed a package for Western Kenya. I've never had anybody call them tribalists, but they signed an agreement demanding for Western Kenya. They demanded, and it was agreed it will be done. Completion of all incomplete or stored bitumen roads. Construction of an extra 1,000 kilometers of bitumen in Western Kenya. Revival and modernization of sugar factories in Western Kenya. establishment of new industries identified in Article 22 of the agreement. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Kenya Kwanza Agreement on shareholding. What crime has Rigathi Gachagua committed to be impeached by saying what President William Ruto appended his signature to, with Musalia Mudavadi and Wetangula, who will preside over my impeachment? What crime has this man committed? The crime of this man is just being truthful, because people do not want these things to be known. That is a problem. People have a problem that I'm a truthful man. The people of Western Kenya has now known today what their leader signed with President William Ruto. It is upon them to demand their share as per this agreement. I did not sign this agreement. I will read the people who signed. But because I was present and I'm a truthful man, I fight for the people of Western Kenya. Power sharing agreement between Kenya Kwanza and PAR of Amason Kingi. I want to give two examples. Yeah? In accord with Article 8 of the agreement, PAR would be allocated the position of the Speaker of the Senate. He negotiated for himself. Let's be truthful. You brought this motion. We'll discuss. The people of Kenya must know the truth, so that if Rigathi Gachagua is being crucified for being truthful, let the people of Kenya know why he is being crucified. How can Moses Wetangula say I should be impeached because of saying people to get their shares, when he is a signatory to a share agreement with the president on what will go to Western Kenya, and then they accuse me of tribalism? They did not say anything should go to Central or Mount Kenya. They talked about Western. When I say something for Mountain, I'm a tribalist. Kingi said, position of Speaker, you are mepewa. Article 9A of the Power Sharing Agreement, PAR would nominate the candidate for appointment of one principal secretary when Kenya Kwanza came to power. Amepewa. For Article 9B, the Power Sharing Agreement, Kenya Kwanza and PAR would agree on what share of national government positions, cabinet secretaries, principal secretaries, high commissioners, ambassadors, diplomatic and consular representatives, chairpersons, state corporations, etc., etc. Power sharing agreement, that is a word, so that nobody should ever again in this country ever accuse me of talking of shares. It is not me. It is my boss, President William Ruto, who appended his signature with other leaders that Kenya is like a company of shares. It is not me. And he signed the agreements. Sharing Kenya is here, it's being shared. True or false? True or false? They have shared the Speaker, they have shared the Senate, they have shared Deputy President, they have shared the President. That's what I've been saying. And then I'm being told that I'm dividing the country along ethnic lines. I did not append this signature. I'm just being truthful. That is my crime. People want these things to be hidden so that they pretend to be nationalistic and say Rigathi Gachagua is tribal. But the people who append these signatures are the ones who should explain why they were signing things for their regions only. Yet they say they are national leaders. Power sharing agreement between the Kenya Kwanza coalition on one part and the Communist Party, nini. So, Service Party, at least I saw Chama cha Kazi. They say the party leader should get something. Moses Kuria was given something. The Service Party of Mwangi Kujuri got nothing. You know? So, unajua sasa, ile shida iko Kenya hii ni ukora. And people not being truthful. The agreements are here. Like in a Communist Party, they have been making noise. They signed an agreement, they have not seen anybody. Yeah? So, My speeches on the shareholder issue are informed by their aforesaid power sharing covenants, which are founded on law and lessons learned from the well-known disputed 202 NAC power sharing agreement. Further power sharing agreements are a feature of government formation in all democracies in the world that provide the formation of coalitions. My pronouncements on the issue, properly understood, are not only anchored in law, but entirely harmless and incapable of being construed as a basis for ethnic animosity, a danger to national cohesion, or a threat to national unity. On the contrary, coalition building has been one of the most important innovations since the disputed 2007 elections in ensuring stability, equitable sharing of political power, national cohesion, and fostering of national unity. Indeed, Kenya Kwanza's main opponent in the 2022 general election, Azimio la Umoja, One Kenya Coalition Party, was a political party consisting of 25 or so political parties who also executed a power sharing agreement as required by Schedule 3 of political parties. However, notwithstanding of the said power sharing agreements, upon election as the Deputy President of Kenya, I went out of my way, as required by the Constitution of Kenya, to serve all Kenyans regardless of their political preferences during the election or ethnic origin. I'll produce videos on all those things. Again, my decision to embrace the broad-based government following the decision of the cabinet after the Gen Z protest is that I support coalition building. And even when the Honorable Right Odinga came, he got some shares. True or false? I mean, surely, why is Rigathi Gachagua being vilified by just being truthful? You know, it's good to be truthful. I have heard that my saying we observe this agreement is a threat to national unity. I have never been caught by the National Cohesion and Integration Committee to tell me that I have said something that can create ethnic disharmony. On the issues of one man, one vote, one shilling, I am told again that it can create tribal hatred. How? The one man, one vote, one shilling is not a formula for Mount Kenya region. Far from it. The one man, one vote, one shilling talks about equity. The gist of that formula is that all Kenyans should be treated equally. If we are giving bursary to the children of Kenya, let us agree how many children we have. If there are 30 million and we have 100 million, we divide equally and distribute to every constituency to those children. If a hospital takes care of 1,000 patients, we decide based on population what is the size of the hospital to be constructed in Roiro, where there are 800,000 people. If one borehole serves 500 people, do you construct one borehole in an area where there are 10,000 people? You need to construct more boreholes. That's all. And these populations are everywhere in Western Kenya, in Kisii, in Rift Valley. The high numbers are not just in the Mount Kenya region. This is a formula, in my view, that is good for everybody. Again, it is not a law because I pronounce myself. It's just an opinion. And in our democracy, I think it's only fair to allow people to have freedom of speech and to be entitled to an opinion. There are those who talk one man, one vote, 1 kilometer, and it is their right. And we should also listen to them and consider. And all those opinions can be harnessed and people can agree which is the best formula to take care of the people of Kenya. That is all I said. I wanted to read to the people, of course, the projects that were negotiated, but I don't seem to have that page. I produce it tomorrow in Parliament. So that when they hear I am fighting, I am also fighting for them. Mine, for the Mount Kenya and President William, we never wrote anything, because I'm a very trusting man. So it's my people. As we did word of mouth. So once in a while we may argue kidogo kidogo because there's nothing written. So sometimes it's when people say I'm blackmailing the president. But I'm simply asking, my boss, we agreed the following, can we please do it? We agreed this on that, can we do it? We agreed that the people of Mount Kenya who had been given jobs by Uhuru will not be removed without being replaced. We don't seem to be honoring that. Can we honor it? We agreed where we needed to replace somebody who has not performed. We exchange 1 for 1. Can we do it? We agreed that we need to give Mau Mau roads priority. Can we please do it? Because that is what we agreed. It's simply people being honest with each other and living true to a gentleman's agreement. That is what it is about. So I wanted to explain to the people of Kenya, I am not against any region of Kenya. I am just a crusader for honesty and for fulfilling written and unwritten agreements. That is all I am. I say if we agree on something, please let's do it. If we agreed we shall do ABCD before we are elected, let's do it. If we agreed we shall not brutally evict innocent people, please let's not do it. If we agreed that we shall create a good business environment for people to do business, please let's not do it. If we agreed there shall be no abductions and extrajudicial killings, please let's be true to the people of Kenya. That is all. So I want to thank every one of you. And because I've been in Parliament, I don't think it's necessary to have questions. I've been very, very clear on no issues, why I called this a press briefing. I've said I'll be in Parliament tomorrow. I've asked my team to try to give you all the materials so that you can also go and digest. But I think I've prosecuted my case before my employers, the people of Kenya. And I trust because the members of Parliament are also listening. They'll be fair, they'll be just, and they'll be true to their conscience and do the right thing, and not hang an innocent man without evidence. I wouldn't mind being crucified if there was evidence, but there's nothing, zero. I've explained myself to the fullest. And I think you and the people of Kenya have heard me. Let me thank all of you for giving me this time, and I appreciate the media for your role to inform the people of Kenya, to educate them, to entertain them, and keep them abreast with what is going on. I want to thank you for your coverage of the short public participation on this impeachment motion, because you exposed it for what it was, and your video clips are very useful for us as we argue in courts of law. You guys are wonderful. You are good people. No wonder you are called the fourth estate. I don't know where we would go in this country without you. We would have so much impunity. We would go back to dictatorship without the media. I want to encourage you to continue to be the watchdog on behalf of the people of Kenya, to protect the Constitution with zeal, to uphold the rule of law, and to call out impunity and corruption. And I want to say, after this impeachment, I want the members of Parliament now to focus on the corruption scandals around our country. The Adani scandal, the issues in public health sector, the glaring theft of public resources. That is what Parliament should consider and take time. And that is what the people of Kenya want. And I really want to thank the media for being a very responsible watchdog on behalf of the people of Kenya. Please continue writing. Where Rigathi Gachagua has gone wrong, please write. But always accord me the right of reply. Don't condemn me unheard. And I want to thank you tonight, because you have really written accusations against me. But I am also to blame because I never called you, isn't it? Now that I have called you, I want you to request you. Every accusation, put my answer. Is that not fair? Let the people of Kenya judge. You want to ask questions? Yes. But not outside this. Okay.
Your Excellency, thank you. We appreciate you hosting us here. You have said a lot in the last more than nearly 2 hours, so I'll be very brief in relation to what you said. My colleague Sam Gituk hosted you here on the 20th of September, and you said a motion of such magnitude cannot head to Parliament without the sanctioning of the party at the parliamentary group level and without the go-ahead or the green lighting by the President. Has President William Ruto in effect sanctioned that motion now that it's in Parliament? Second, this is in relation to your statement on the 4th of January this year regarding High Court Judge Honorable Esther Maina you have mentioned. You said you accused her of corruption and you said you'll file a petition, but we never saw you there. You nonetheless said that you have filed a petition. Can you tell the Kenyan people when you have filed that petition? Maybe you can note. This one the same because, Your Excellency, you and President William Ruto hold the ultimate office that must provide answers for the Kenyan people. You therefore are open to accountability, scrutiny, and questions. When you took your oath of office, you told the Kenyan people that the country has empty coffers, that you inherited empty coffers. However, your statement is contrary to what the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics says, that at the time when you assumed office, the country had at its disposal 3.02 trillion Kenya shillings, includes revenue plus appropriations in aid. Why, Mr. Deputy President, did you make such a misleading statement in front of the Kenyan people and the world? Regarding your shareholding question, I'm sorry to hold you to account, Mr. Deputy President, that the context in which you have provided the agreement between the parties, the Kenya Kwanza parties, and your defense is different. This is what you said in Kericho County, that this government on February 2023, this government is a company, you told the people, that has its shares. There are owners who have the majority of shares and those who just have a few, while others do not have any. You invested in this government, you told the people of Kericho County, so you must reap. You sowed, you tilted, you tilled, you put manure and irrigated. Now it's your time to reap. Some few months later, the High Court quashed the appointment of more than 1,406 KRA officials. And the judgment? 700 of those officials were either from the Kalenjin or the Kikuyu community. How much of a responsibility will you take, being part of the presidency, of such gross locking out of Kenyans who qualify, who are competent, who merit, yet half of those appointments went to only 2 communities?
That's enough.
Thank you.
One, the issue of Justice Minor is sub judice. I don't want to discuss it because it's a matter before court, but I'll be able to give you the date when we filed so that you can follow the petition. As to the issues that this motion cannot find its way to the Assembly without the President nod, that is true. It can't. It has its nod. As to the issue of shareholding, again, this is a matter that I'll be prosecuting. By answering your question, I'll delve into the merits and the demerits of the argument that will come up. But I also want to remind you that I did not say that it's a company. I said like a company. Like. You look at the clip, it's there. Like, I gave an example. And a company has shareholders. I've just read to you, there's 30% here for somebody. That's what I was saying. I was just being truthful without removing the agreement. Again, I am not responsible for making appointments in Kenya. I don't make any appointments. The Deputy President does not appoint anybody. You know, the appointing authority. Ladies and gentlemen, because my lawyers tell me we don't want to delve into the merits and the demerits of the presentation that I've made. Yes, Karanja.
From NTV. Your Excellency, when you apologized to President Uhuru Kenyatta, you said that the words used then were out of political reasons. And that's why you are apologizing. So why should Kenyans believe you today that what you're saying is not for political reasons, for your own immediate benefit? My second question, Your Excellency, what next if this impeachment happens tomorrow? If you're impeached, what next for you? If you're not impeached, then what next in this political marriage between you and President William Ruto?
Let's say your answer is what I've discussed here are facts. It's for the people of Kenya to look at the facts and decide whether they have the necessary veracity or not. As to what I'll do or not what I'll do, let's cross the bridge when we get there.
My name is Joel Chacha
I think good people, we have had a long night. We have had a very long night, and you need to go and file your story. I want to once more thank you very much. Good people, asanteni sana, Mungu awabariki. Tutaonana kesho. Thank you.
Consolata Chiba Lonza, and earlier on we had Emmanuel Mara taking us through whatever the Deputy President was saying in the beautiful language of Swahili, or as they say, lugha bora na tukufu ya Kiswahili. But for now we get to the Queen's language, that is English, and I'll be your host Chiba Lonza, as I've stated. Now we still have the same panelist, that is Leon Harun, together with Mr. Joseph, who is a community developer. And we want to just sum it up. We're summing up everything that the Deputy President has said. And number one, I would love to ask my guest, did you see this coming? Did you expect that the Deputy President would boldly state, I am not resigning, and if you thought I'm resigning, you guys are joking?
Personally, I saw it halfway, and half, it's like a suggestion. Maybe he'll come up boldly, or he'll just wait and resign, or he'll just wait to see how things come up. I think that is what was in my mind. Yes.
What about you?
Well, it is important to note that a good number of Kenyans, a majority of Kenyans, actually expected the Deputy President to resign today.
True.
With, knowing that the matter is before Parliament tomorrow. And a good number of parliamentarians are solidly behind the impeachment of the Deputy President.
Yeah.
But I call it the element of surprise. The element of surprise in the game. I am sure it has sent the MPs back to the drawing board. Because also, if you looked at the activities of the day today politically, there's nothing much doing with the impeachment. So I am sure the parliamentary committees are now beginning to convene via their phones to discuss on the issue of I will not resign. Because I am sure they were convicted and convinced that the Deputy President was going to do what they perceived as the honorable thing and resign. But now you see, there's been an element of surprise. Personally, I expected the Deputy President to resign and avoid the public shaming. But now, it is gloves off, all out war.
And thank you for even bringing that up with the kind of content that the Deputy President was releasing to the public. What is your view of that? Because he was all out. He decided, you know what, as we say locally, kambaya mbaya. Like, you guys, if you're taking me out, I'm not going down alone. And from the kind of content, especially the power sharing information that he was giving, do you feel like it was the right move, or was it just a safe move trying to save himself from the shame?
Personally, I think the reason why he has come up with that kind of information, number one, he wants to show Kenyans that I'm being fought because of this, and this was hidden. You are not supposed to know this. But now, because these people have risen against me, I have to give you the information so that you can know information by yourself. Because this was not so much necessary to come up with this information, bearing in mind that the motion is in Parliament. He could have waited for what will happen in the parliament. But now he thought, if I'm going to speak this one after the impeachment, then the Kenyans will say that I'm fighting back. But now, I think the person who advised him did a good job.
He's a genius.
He's a genius. Because he wanted him now to come and tell Kenyans, you see, I'm being fought because of A, B, C, D. When I spoke about the shareholding in this country, I never said that because I signed a document, but there's a document that my boss and the shareholders signed. So I'm not part of the shareholding, you see.
You were just an attendant.
I was just an attendant. I was called for a meeting, and I heard what they were talking, and then they signed the document, and I realized now we are running the country as a company with the shareholders and a certain amount of shares, 30%, 10%, 5%. And you could see how people were laughing there when he read that document. Because now it is like, this is a secret that was supposed to be kept between the parties, but now it has come out openly. And I'm sure that document could have been deposited with the register of political parties. Because it must be registered there. So that when they form the coalition, they can do it legally. So it is a legal document. So we are living in other people's company.
Wenye nchi na wananchi. All right. So what about you? What do you think about that?
My thinking is simple. You see, they see that there are only two dangerous people under the sun to fight. One, a person who has nothing to fight for. Rather, a person who has nothing to lose. And a person who has nothing to live for. Politically, the deputy president knows that this marriage is dead. So I have nothing to live for. Even if it works, I have nothing to live for in this marriage, because eventually it is dead. And in the end result, even if I am impeached, I have nothing to lose. Therefore, those that advise, the political advisors of the president might have failed in that aspect. The aspect of realizing that the deputy president had nothing politically to live for in the government and had nothing whatsoever to fight for, or rather to lose in this government, because he has already lost what he was to lose. The respect of the members of parliament, he has none. You saw him complaining that he was removed from a WhatsApp group by a junior member. So it's about the matters respect politically. He has lost. Therefore, he has nothing to lose, nothing whatsoever to gain. Therefore, they should have advised the president to look at it from a political angle. And you've seen it. It is now gloves off. It is a bare knuckle fight. Let us, as you've said, the catchphrase for the day is kaende, kaende.
All right.
But you see, I also asked myself one question. What is the responsibility of the deputy president according to the Kenyan constitution? He's just an assistant of the president. So he is not given any constitutional responsibility apart from being an assistant. So if the deputy president has failed in his performance, he is not the one who has failed. It is the one who is responsible, and that is the president. So trying to impeach the deputy president is telling us that your child is making you not able to live in your own house. So you want to throw your children out of the house. Therefore, and you mobilize the other children to remove these children out of the house, giving them some analogies that I'll give you this and this and this if this person goes out. So to me, on the community development perspective, we are removing the wrong person who has no responsibility. And as my partner here said, the deputy president has nothing to lose. And he has nothing to live for. Because if you are blaming me because I've not done my responsibilities, what are my responsibilities that I was given by Kenyans? I was given my responsibility to assist you. But if you tell me that you want me to assist you to get resources from Kenyans and share it amongst the shareholders,
doesn't make sense.
Will I now support you to do that?
No.
No, if I don't support you to do that, because that is what he's saying. I was to support these people according to their shareholding, their political parties. If I say no, and I tell President, let us do what we promised to Kenyans, and then you tell me that I'm not doing my work, okay? So now he is coming out with a lot of brassing spears. Yes, you are telling me that I should go. Give me my responsibilities, which I'm supposed to do. There is nothing. Therefore, if you impeach me, I'll tell Kenyans, this is what you are planning, this is what you have been doing, and this is why you wanted me to be part of you.
Yeah.
And it is like now, I don't worry, impeach me, but I'll tell Kenyans the truth.
Yeah.
Okay? So this politically is not going to end, whether he is going to be impeached or not. Because he will be like now the opposition in the government.
The opposition that we do not
It will be like, he'll be now, he'll tend to be part of citizens in Kenya and tell them, you know, these people, this is what they want to do you. They want to do this against you. Look at the finance bill. Okay? He was one of the whistleblowers that this finance bill might not be good to citizens. And you see how the citizens reacted, the young people, how they reacted. Don't you think that whatever they have created is a lot of hatred and a lot of struggle now? Ile wanasema kwa Kiswahili kupimana nguvu. This is what is going to happen now. And let me tell you, never try to meet a wounded heart. Because if it is not treated, it will cause a lot of wounds. So what the Deputy President is going to do is going to play his cards very well as a silent man, but he is going to give out every document that was signed, even in the formation of the political party, the UDA. You might be surprised that he will give even out the results of the votes, how the votes were done. You see?
Yeah, what do you have to say
because
about
he is not going to lose anything.
Okay.
You see? He is not going to lose anything. So he can even come up and give out the secrets that have been there because, okay, you have impeached me. I'm not the Deputy President. The reason you impeached me is because of A, B, C. The Kenyans should know this one. And now he has also followers.
Yeah.
Okay? Not all his followers will be moved out of the politics.
Of course.
He have some MPs that are behind him. You have some MCAs who are behind him, governors who are behind him, other communities who are behind him. And the communities will always agree on whatever they are being taught.
Okay. Just hold it. Just hold it. Yes.
Well, let me start by saying, in the art of war, they say that every battle must take its strength, must take its part.
Yes.
Therefore, the Deputy President has seen this as a chance. This is not a war, this is a battle that he has done, and he has won. Now the war is yet to begin.
Yeah.
Even tomorrow, it's going to be a battle. The war will come after the impeachment, whether he's impeached or not. I see two case scenarios of the Deputy President. One, he might decide I will be the opposition within the government.
Yes.
Two, he might decide to be the silent follower who does not speak. But this political marriage is dead. It cannot be revived. If you look at the one thing I see the lawyers of the Deputy President arguing. When you tell me that you are impeaching me because I've not done what I'm supposed to be doing, the question would be, what constitutionally am I supposed as the Deputy President? What is my role? What am I supposed to do? It is important that you note that the role of the Deputy President comes from the assignment or being assigned by the President. The President assigns you to these and these roles. Dating back to when our current President was the Deputy President in the first term of the presidency.
Yes.
You remember that he was being sent in every project in Kenya to go and launch.
Yes.
His assignment was, and in fact they started calling Bwana Tanga Tanga.
Tanga, yeah.
His assignment was simple. Well, the government wants to launch this project here. Go. Now, that is an assignment.
Yeah.
So when you say that, when you come here and accuse me and say that I've not done what I'm supposed to be doing, and yet there is no constitutional mandate and responsibility of a Deputy President, that will be a point that the lawyers will look forward to exhausting totally, and it will work well in the defense. Now, what I have seen, what the Deputy President has done, one, The issue of bringing out the issue of shareholding, that was a political move. A political move. So in case it appears tomorrow in Parliament, people are now waiting for the fight. What will the Deputy President now expose more? People are eager. People have been given a teaser. They are looking forward for the full movie.
Yeah. Indeed, we're looking forward for the full movie tomorrow.
Yes.
The impeachment motion is still on.
Yes.
And in the words of the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, if you thought this was a resignation press briefing, then you must be joking. Ooh, I loved that. I think that's my take home. But we've come to the end of today's session. We were just trying to chew what Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua fed us. And clearly the tension has just, the pressure has creased. The pressure has creased. And we do hope for better days. We do hope for this. I can't even say for a better outcome because I do not know. In just one statement, is it okay if the Deputy President is impeached or if he stays?
The general feeling in Kenya right now is impeach the both of them.
Yeah.
Let them go. And I agree, let them go.
Wakiwa wawili.
What waende.
To my opinion, whether he's impeached or not, it does not solve the problem.
Yes.
If he is not going to be impeached, by 2027, as he says he's a truthful man, he will never be a running mate for William Samoei Ruto.
Ever.
That one is outright. He will refuse. And when he refuses, because he is not losing anything, he will support the opponent. And all his votes, he'll muscle his votes and his followers to support the opponent.
Maybe to add on that.
Yeah.
Maybe to add on that.
Yeah.
You've heard him clearly saying that I have no political ambition of becoming the president of Kenya.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm saying this. It is more detrimental to the president than it is to the deputy president. Thank you.
So he will not support the president. He will not become a running mate, according to my thought, and he will support the opponent. Okay? If he is not going to be impeached. If also he is going to be impeached, he will join the other people in the opposition, and the politics are going to raise higher. And it is not a surprise. You see an impeachment motion for the president brought to the parliament.
All right.
By next year.
Okay.
Yes.
And I will take that as your final words, I suppose. And we call it a day. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Joseph, for your time. Thank you very much, Mr. Leon, for your time. You have been wonderful guests. I was also following you and the discussions you were having together with Emmanuel Mara during the Swahili panels. You two are smart. You can talk Swahili and English perfectly well.
Thank you.
Okay, God bless you. My name is Consolata Chibalonza. Thank you very much, Michael Dipo on the camera, Moses on the other side of the studio. Thank you very much for being with us from 7 p.m. to almost 10 p.m. I do wish you all a good night. Tomorrow morning, Cynthia will be with you for the rest of the scoop. Bye for now.